What's going on to all my MCU, Loki, Marvel fans out there, and welcome back to our live Loki discussion. We're talking episode 2, which was titled Variant, and this was an episode to be talked about. That ending, the reveal, the Easter eggs, so on and so forth. It's going to be a fun discussion, and we have some incredible people to discuss this latest episode of Loki. But we also are going to be talking about some Black Widow news. Some people got the chance to see it yesterday, and we'll be talking about some of their reactions. And also to my silly self, there is a giveaway that I was supposed to do last week that I'll be doing this stream that we'll be talking about as well for all the Loki fans. It's a cool little prize that we might have for a lucky winner by the end of the stream. So we'll get into all that tonight. But before we dive into it, guys, it is Thursday, 7:03 on my end, and we got about 19 people in the chat. Welcome to the Loki live streams. We do this every single Thursday, 7 p.m. Central Time, talking about the latest episode. And if there's any big news to talk about, we break that down as well. But we have such a good time on these discussions, and we're going to continue that with tonight's stream. So if this is your first time tuning in, subscribe to all these wonderful content creators that I'll be bringing in here in a little bit. Make sure you're liking the video. We love to interact with you all. So if you're watching this on the live, we're going to try to get to your questions, your concerns, your thoughts, your theories, your predictions as often as we can. Let's just have a good time tonight. And if you're watching this on the replay, if you can do the exact same thing, it will be greatly appreciated. So with me getting that all out of the way, let me bring in my co-host, starting with someone that we didn't have with us last week, but she is back with us tonight. One of my favorite people to talk all things Marvel, DC, you name it. She's such a great content creator, has so many great opinions on things. I don't know what she thought about the first episode, and I don't know what she thought about the second episode, so I'm excited to get her thoughts on it. Talking about the one and only Amanda. What is going on?
Heyo, happy to be back. I really missed being here with you guys last week, so I'm really excited to have a chat about Loki this week.
You know, man, these shows, when you're not here, it's just like we were missing something last week. We had, Frankie on last week, and of course, Chris always brings the great stuff. Yeah. But we got our full team back to talk about some Loki, and I'm so glad to have you back tonight, Amanda.
Yeah, I'm so happy. It's going to be great. I'm excited.
Some fun stuff, and I can't wait to hear your opinion, because again, I don't know what your initial thought on the first episode is and when you're at. So I know you have some really great stuff, and sometimes you got some hot takes. So I'm prepared for it tonight. Got the cooling myself off with those Amanda hot takes, some nice cool water. But hey, Amanda, if the people aren't too familiar with what you do on the internet, where they can find you, if you want to let them know all about your great stuff, go right ahead.
Yeah, you guys can always check out my hot takes over at AMX NJ Reviews on Twitter, Instagram, and Letterboxd. You can check out my YouTube channel, Candid Cinema. I just have my Luca review drop yesterday, and it's going to be out tomorrow. So please watch it. It's so good on Disney Plus. And my website is candidcinema.com. I have all my reviews and interviews and other articles on there. So yeah.
Definitely. I can't wait to see, because I haven't seen Luca yet. I'm definitely going to be watching a review to get your take on it, because I know you're a Pixar fan like I am, and it looks like, from what I've heard, they have another hit on their hands. So it's going to be some great stuff. So definitely, guys, check out Amanda's information. Her links are in the bio. Great content. You won't be disappointed. Check her out. So not only do we have Amanda back, but we also have our other co-hosts representing the East Coast. This man has some great content on the internet, some incredible reviews, discussions. We've been lucky to have him on all these recap shows with WandaVision, Falcon Winter Soldier, and Loki. I know he enjoyed the first week's episode. I'm excited to get his thoughts on tonight's episode. Coming in from the East Coast, my man Chris from Tait. What's going on, man?
Hey. What's good? Happy Thursday.
Happy Thursday, man. How we doing today, man?
Everything's grooving along, man. I'm ready to get into this episode, man. The season is doing its thing.
Hey, Loki is here he ain't playing, man. He's ready to put the MCU on its head, man. And it's been doing a good job of doing so, man. But hey, Chris, if you want to let the people know where they can find you, man, and all the great stuff you have out there for them, man, the stage is yours.
Yeah, for sure. You guys can all find me at Tate's Take. I'm sure the information's in the link to the descriptions of this video. All my contact information is in there too. I got Instagram, Twitter, got my email in there. I'm doing, movie reviews, TV show reviews, all that kind of good stuff. So if you're looking for a little background on the content, just my opinion on it, just check me out. And subscribe to everyone that we have on this show. And I'm just happy to get this started. Marvel is the king of all kings in my eyes as far as content goes. So excited to get this party started.
It's true.
Yeah, man. I know you recently saw Fatherhood like I had, man. Just quick takes on Mr. Kevin Hart. Will he be in the MCU anytime soon?
He better not be. I'd rather see. This is a crazy hot take. I would rather see Beyonce and Black Panther 2 than Kevin Hart
Hey.
anywhere in the MCU.
Hey man, if
It
you ask
could happen.
Tyrese, Beyonce gonna be in Black Panther 2. He's gonna be T'Challa, and Tyrese, he knows everything about Marvel. So yeah, that's what we're doing.
That poor fellow. I wish he wasn't so loopy because he was doing just fine.
Man, it's Jody, man. He ever since Ben Reigns put them hands on him, he hasn't been the same since, man. So
that's not a bad call out.
Yeah, man. Hey, guys, Amanda, Chris, the links are in the bio. Check them out. Again, I say it every single week, and I really mean this. They are incredible people, but they also make incredible content, so definitely support them. So every single week, man, since we've been doing this, since WandaVision, we've been fortunate enough to have some incredible people on YouTube, on TikTok, on all the different social media platforms sharing their opinion. And speaking of opinions, this gentleman has been on the channel before, and he likes to share just his opinion. His opinion, most of the time, I'm in line with it. I love his content, movie reviews, TV recaps, live streams that he hosts every single Sunday and now Wednesday. And I'm fortunate enough to this is the 4th time I've seen him this week, and I love seeing this guy and having discussion with him. Talking about the one and only Brandon from Just My Opinion. What's going on, my friend?
Hey, what's good, everybody? How y'all doing?
Hey, man, we out here talking low-key and Marvel, so we're doing pretty good, man. How we doing tonight, Brandon?
Pretty good, man. Pretty good. I'm having a good day. It started out kind of rocky, but it ended well. So, if you end the day talking about Loki, it's always a good day.
There you go, man. Hey, Brandon, you joined us on Falcon and Winter Soldier. You're back talking low-key, man. If the people, for whatever reason, are under a rock and don't know the great Brandon, Just My Opinion, man, if you want to let them know what you're about and where they can find you, man, go right ahead.
Yeah. Brandon Keith Avery, reside in Dallas, Texas. You can find me here on YouTube at Just My Opinion Reviews. Also, my website, justmyopinion.net, and my social media is on the screen. Like Elliot said, I do movie reviews, television recaps, talk about entertainment news. I have a movie news roundup show every Sunday, and that's also coming over to Wednesday too. And I may get lucky and get an interview every once in a while, and just trying to create content that's fun. And I like to just talk about it with other people. So yeah.
And guys, again, the not only are the reviews great, but the live streams that he hosts twice a week are fantastic conversations. Because I've been fortunate enough to be on some of those panels with some other great content creators, and the conversations are always great. The jokes are there, the opinions are there. It's just a good time. And like I said, from Amanda, Chris, and Brandon, they've all built some incredible communities, and you want to be a part of their community. So definitely support them and check out their links in the bio, ladies and gentlemen. So all that fun stuff out of the way, guys. We got some Marvel news that we're going to talk about before we dive into it. And again, we will be doing a giveaway. I will not forget it this week. There's a giveaway that we will be doing in a little bit, but we're going to be talking about some MCU news. Now, we didn't get like some groundbreaking, earth-shattering news, but we did hear some reactions come out. We got, a particular character. If you ask a lot of us on the panel who should have had a movie a long time ago, she finally has her film coming out, and that is Black Widow. Now, word on the street is the movie is pretty dope. From a lot of people on the internet, they've saying it's Winter Soldier meets Mission Impossible. I'm hearing that Florence Pugh steals the film, which kind of sucks because it's like it's Natasha's film. And it sounds like she's the co-lead, but nevertheless, always good to hear that a Marvel film is doing well. So before we kind of dive into just the reaction so far, based on what you've seen, starting with you, Amanda, this has given you more excited for Black Widow, kind of the same feel, less excited, just your initial thoughts before we actually look at some of these reactions.
I'm in between because there was one person who completely ripped it to shreds. And I saw that entire thread and people were attacking him. But he kind of said it like it was straightforward. It was his honest opinion. And then like there were other reviews that were like sugarcoating everything and just saying it was like great and that the action was great and that they were praising Florence Pugh. But having Natasha kind of sidelined in her own solo that like Scarlett was pushing for years and years. And it's just the Black Widow film itself, the placement is just way too late. It's way too late for her to be sidelined in her own film. So I'm not really that excited for it, to be perfectly honest, after these tweets that I've seen today.
And multiple delays after delays. And Yeah, I hear you. And we'll get to some of those reactions here in a bit. But same question for you, Chris. Just for the reactions, if you've seen any before we put some on the screen, just from if you have seen any, are you more excited, less excited, a little bit of the same?
Yeah, the same. I haven't seen anything that's surprising to me. I didn't see the person who dragged it, but it's like I expect it to be good, like at a Marvel level of good, not better than like the best MCU stuff we have. And definitely not worse than some of the worst movies that we have. But I think it's gonna be fine. And I don't know. I heard that she stole the movie, but I read it in my brain as like she was like really good in it, not like they put Scarlett to the side, but that maybe she was better in it. Or like like a big deal, like, you know what I mean? Like I didn't see it as like, damn, this girl got put to the side of her own movie. I read it like, oh, this girl's actually really good. Like she actually like stole some of the scenes or whatever. That's how I read it. But it's like nothing I would have read would have changed my mind about going to see it on opening night or like, you know, I expected these comments.
Gotcha. Hey, we'll get into some of those comments here in a bit. And before we get to it, Brandon, just the same question for you, man. Just based on some of the stuff you may have heard in the last couple hours with the reaction, the embargo, the social media embargo being lifted, does it get you more hyped, less hyped, or do you feel the same as you were, 6 months ago?
I'm a bit more hyped. This is something I have been looking forward to. After each trailer they released, I got more and more excited about it. My anticipation level raised higher and higher. However, I started to stay away from trailers because I was like, man, this just looks so good. I don't want to spoil myself. So I saw one reaction today from Sharonda. Then I like swiped away because I was like, oh no, I don't want to be spoiled for anything. But hearing that this is like Winter Soldier versus Mission Impossible, I think you said, Amanda, or one of you, that really does get me excited because that's one of the better films in the MCU to me. And I love Mission Impossible. I mean, that's a great franchise. So if those two things are coming together, that just kind of sends me through the roof in excitement. I don't know about the comment, the thread that the guy was being ripped apart. And I also kind of agree with Chris. I don't think Marvel is silly enough to backseat Black Widow on her own movie. It's just probably that, she just did such a great job, and maybe people's expectations weren't that low or very low, and they just weren't expecting that. So I think it'll be fine. I'm looking forward to it. And like Amanda said, this is well overdue. We should have had this film a long time ago, especially with what's happening in Endgame. So,
but I will say that too. I think someone was talking about like $1 billion movie, and I was like, it's impossible. Buying these tickets in New York City, I was like, oh, they're not playing around. Like, and I know the capacity is not 100%, but like they were not messing around with those ticket sales. So it's going to do crazy numbers based on what I'm seeing here. I haven't seen that in the whole pandemic yet. The closest was A Quiet Place 2, but that's not nearly as crazy as this was. As soon as it went on sale, they were out of there, like out of there.
Yeah,
that'll be interesting, and I would love to get you when we wrap up this this particular topic. I would love to get you guys as just for box office purposes, just throwing a number out there. Opening weekend, we'll talk about that at the end. But let's talk about some of these reactions. I pulled some from just I know some of these journalists are well known. Eric Davis, his reaction: Marvel movies are back. Black Widow, like Amanda said, a lot of these just like. They say this every movie. It seems like
from the commercial.
And literally, it's like okay.
It's like Marvel movies are back. Yeah, no. This Black Widow is tense, action-packed, spy thriller. Truly completes Natasha's story. It's visceral, emotional. Florence Pugh, as we talked about, I heard a lot of her. Is an instant classic. And this was the headline, kind of the Bond meets Mission Impossible meets Thelma and Louise. So interesting. A bit of comments there. Just quickly before we go to the next one, Amanda, Chris, Brandon, what do you guys think about Mr. Eric's take? Does that get you excited at all? Mission Impossible and James Bond?
Yes.
Yeah. I have a hot take though, and it's like completely unrelated to the MCU, but like I personally think that the Mission Impossible franchise is better than the Fast and Furious franchise, but that's totally different. Okay, well,
is that a debate?
No, it is a debate. It's a whole ass debate on Twitter. I'm not joking. That's why I wanted to present it to you guys.
Oh my goodness! I mean, no disrespect to the Fast, Furious fan, but I don't even think it's like night and day to me. But hey.
That's like comparing a steak to a peanut butter sandwich. Are you serious?
That's what I was saying. But like actual fights. Anyways, that's exactly why. But I was just like, okay.
Hey, and just another side note, I did read a comment that Dominic Toretto is going to have a spinoff, maybe. It's like Vin Diesel Come on, man. I mean, hey,
sure.
I guess, but yeah, yeah. All right. But let's see here. Steven from Represent Collider. Kate Shortlit had a difficult job trying to fill in Natasha Romano's backstory. Nailed it. The entire cast was great. Florence Pugh, David Harper, home runs, performance. No way audiences don't want more for both characters. Yeah, pretty standard to me. Nothing too mind blowing those comments there. But let's move on to the next one. We got Brandon here. I think he represents like comicbook.com or something like that. Let's see. Brandon says Black Widow is one of the best solo films. Start to finish, the movie is great.
Oh, yes.
Surprises, emotional character moments, badass action. Scarlett Johansson finally gets to pour everything in the role. The director nailed it. Bravo. Okay. Best. So this is a stinger word. Best solo film. Brandon, talking about Brandon. What you think about these comments, man?
That sends me to space. I was already in the sky. Now that just sends me to space. I'm so happy. Like that's a tall order. That is
a very tall order.
The best solo film. That's pretty crazy. Okay. So I'm happy because the best solo films to me are Winter Soldier, Iron Man 1. I was about to say Captain Marvel, but definitely not. Yeah, I'm happy with that statement. So
you forgot Black Panther.
Black Panther's
for
sure.
Black Panther's up there too.
Hey, tossing it to you, Chris. What do you think about Mr. Brandon's thoughts here, saying it's the best solo film that we've gotten from Marvel so far? And also, he does applaud. Scarlett Johansson gives everything in this role, and I think she's been crushing so far. To know that she's a fantastic actress. But your thoughts on this comment here by Mr. Brandon Davis?
My comments are kind of like that. It should be like.
Yeah,
I'm a big fan of like the mindset of like today's generation of athletes should be better than like don't compare them, like they're supposed to be better. Like you're supposed to learn from your mistakes. These kids are playing from 2 years old, shooting NBA 3-pointers. Like they're supposed to be better. So like if I'm Marvel and I've been making these standalone movies for so long, I know what works and what doesn't work. By 2021, my shit should be pretty good. So like I hope that is one of the best standalone films, because if we got this far and we're still missing the mark, I'd be kind of like damn disappointed.
I agree. Amanda, your thoughts on Mr. Brandon's best solo outing that the MCU has given us so far?
He's awesome, but the buzzword of like the best of this and the best of that, and it's like
one of the
like I know, but still like you're right, but like you're also overhyping it. And then if I go in with my expectations all the way up here and it's not there, then that's like I'm gonna get disappointed. And like rightfully so, after all of this fight, like I said before, and getting postponed, like all this, she deserves to have a bomb ass standalone film. So I'm hoping that they're right. That's all that I can hope for. But yeah, I take it with a grain of salt.
I agree. But that is, one of the best. And I'm good to hear a couple things. Again, Scarlett Johansson, that gets me excited, but also Kate Shortlit. I love that Marvel has allowed these Kate Shortlits of the world, Zoe Cloud, all these small independent directors getting their footing. We get Nia DaCosta directing Captain Marvel 2. I love that they take these small independent directors and throw $200 million at them and see what they can do. So, that's always exciting to see that allowing these smaller independent directors to put their stamp on something pretty big. So let's see what else we got here. So here's one of our. So we talked about, we got some people that's been on the channel before. We got Miss Mama's Geekly Tessa talking about Black Widow. She had a couple different threads, so I didn't pull up the whole thing, but basically her Twitter feed was, or her reaction: Black Widow is incredible. Action sequences are great. Natasha is great. Florence Pugh stole the show, or steals the show. Chemistry between the two were fantastic. There's some good laughs. That's a first one I've seen. No one's really talked about the MCU comedy, so it's good to know it has a little bit of those comedic chops. Another
funny though, so you already know.
Yeah, for sure. And this is also coming from Tessa, who I love. When every time we said Ralph Boner, she got a crack out of it. So the bar for
comedic
comedy.
Genius.
Yeah,
I can't.
We love us some Tessa. So I can't wait to hear her when we get her on the channel. She will be coming on the stream in a couple weeks. But she also said after groundbreaking MCU shows like WandaVision, Falcon Winter Soldier, Loki, Black Widow feels a little bit. Oh, so here we go. It says, and it's so small. like a little bit of a step backwards and would have worked better immediately after Endgame as intended, or after Civil War. So first kind of like a little bit of pushback a little bit. I like that Tessa allowed that to be in there. So Amanda, starting with you, just her first comments, but then going to that second half, it feels misplaced. It kind of feels like it should have happened years ago. Your take on Tessa's comments here?
Well, I like that she's very honest with it.
Yeah.
She gave her positives and then she gave her negatives. So I appreciate that going into it. But I can't, the placement, it's always going to be the placement. If we watch it and we enjoy it, the one peeve for everyone is going to be that placement. It doesn't matter. And I kind of feel like because her story was wrapped up in Endgame, it's going to be hard for me anyway to kind of go back into her character. Just that's personal. It's just me. And it's also how I'm feeling with Loki, kind of. Don't want to say it, but I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I know I'm not going to say anything for Chris. But anyways, like that's how I'm kind of feeling. It's hard to kind of get back into that mindset. But yeah, the placement's going to be really hard. And I'm really happy that she was honest with it.
Chris, man, your take on Miss Mama's Geekly's thoughts on Black Widow so far?
Yeah, I get it. It all makes sense. Like, if this movie came out when it's supposed to, then the second half wouldn't even exist. So that's a fucking branch of the timeline in itself. I think that this movie will be what we expect it to be. It'll be a great movie, and then like you have to kind of like suspension of belief it when you leave. Like, okay, this movie, if it was here, how would this look? Like, you're not gonna reshoot it, and it is what it is. I think, it's just unfortunate. It's not her fault. It's not our fault as viewers. So we kind of have to take it, like, I guess, in stride. But
it's true.
Very true. Well said, man. And then before we get to our last one, which will be Sharonda's, your thoughts on this, Brandon? Just kind of, the placement of the film. We talked about it. It should have been out probably years ago, but just your take on Mama's Geekly here.
I'm glad that she is honest about it too, because usually people, when they do these reactions, there's still kind of hype from the experience, but you can tell that she was able to calm down and process her thoughts and be honest and not really care about what other people thought, or let me just say it's this and that so I can get some clicks and follows. So I respect that. I like it. It kind of levels me out as well as far as my expectations are concerned.
Yeah.
Well said. And again, guys, this is just two threads. I think she had a couple more things to say, both positively and negatively. So again, we always respect with Mama's Geekly has to offer. So definitely check her out on Twitter. And then last but not least, another person that big fans of, she's been on the channel. Definitely check out her content as well. And that is Sharonda from Pay Your Weight. And she had also a couple different threads. So I just picked out the first two. And Sharonda said from Pay Your Weight, Black Widow is everything I ever wanted a female-led comic book film to be. Scarlett Johansson and Florence Pugh are fantastic. It's action-packed, awesome choreography, great set pieces. To see a film led by women were long and fierce and kicking ass warms my heart. That is awesome to hear. And I think there was one more thing Sharonda had to offer as far as comments. Was there anything else I had there? Okay. And then she said, I have, to be honest, though, it still blows my mind that it took so long. Yep. Natasha is a good character that should have had recent centered around her. So, yeah, this goes back to just placement of the film that Sharonda is mentioning here. So kind of the same sentiments that Tessa had regarding the placement of the film. But going back to her positive, starting with you, Brandon, it's everything she wanted to see, and seeing a kick-ass female character in the MCU leading this film is everything that she wanted to be, and it sounds like it's something pretty promising.
That is fantastic, because when I talked to Sharonda about the MCU in general in the past, she's not always as enthused about the properties as I am. Usually if I'm excited, if I just want to throw a number out there, if I give it a 9, she may give it like an 8 or a 7.5, which is fine. So for her to be this excited about it, and she's just so happy that this is a female-led comic book film, and she's just this thrilled, then that sends me back up to space with excitement. So I'm really happy to hear that.
Awesome, I agree, man. What about you, Chris? Your thoughts on Sharonda's thoughts on Black Widow?
Yeah, in a weird way, I was kind of going to say something similar, and I don't have conversations with her, but it's certain people, like, I expect like kind of like a lower score for a Marvel movie. So like for her to say like, give these high remarks, I'm like, okay, that's legit. It's kind of like, like hopefully if I say something's funny, people will say, "Oh, damn, that shit might be actually kind of funny."
Right.
So like for her to say like, "Damn, like this shit, like they did it good," like she's good to like give a lot of props and then find something that they could have improved. She didn't even add it. So I mean that's a good sign for me.
Definitely. And again, guys, this Sharonda, she did have some other opinions on it too. These were just the first two of the thread. But wrapping it up, Amanda, your take on Sharonda's opinion on the matter. And again, just like Tessa, she brings up the placement. It does. I wonder when I'm watching, I wonder if I'm going to have that in the back of my mind. It's like, I just wish this was out earlier, But your take on Sharonda's opinions here.
No, I echo what they said. If you see someone who you trust their opinion and they're saying that it exceeded their expectations or they really enjoyed it, then you're going to be more interested in it. Mm-hmm. I love that she said that this is the film that she's always wanted from Nat, and I love that. I'm so excited for her, especially like it's you can compare it to the Winter Soldier, and that's like my favorite out of all of them. So I'm excited for her. Again, it's just funny that like we did have a female-led film with Captain Marvel, and that's like we don't touch that with a 10-foot pole. But like I was just like oh yeah, it's there. It made the billion. But like no.
Yeah.
So I hope that like I'm just saying like with Black Widow, like I'm happy that Sharonda loved it. And again, if we know that it's supposed to come after Civil War and before Infinity War, going into it, then maybe the placement won't feel as jarring. I guess if that's how we're going to go into it.
Yeah, we know it to be originally supposed to come after Endgame. Was it ever another time before that they were talking about this movie, or was it always after Endgame?
I think it was after Endgame.
I think it was after Endgame. Yeah. Yeah, I think just, and maybe who knows, Phase 5, Kevin Feige, just like he admitted, what did he admit a couple weeks ago? I think it was something regarding, the Ancient One, Doctor Strange. They admitted this was 5 years later. They probably should have never had a white woman playing a predominantly, known as an Asian character. So they admitted that 5 years later. So I guess in 2026, Kevin Feige would say, you know what, we should have put out Black Widow 2013 after Civil War.
Anytime before you kill her.
Right.
Like,
and
let's start with
spoilers.
that.
No.
And I think it was also made more of like a place filler as well because of the James Gunn debacle that happened back then.
Great point.
Because Guardians of the Galaxy 3 was supposed to be, I think, was supposed to be the first film after Endgame.
Yep.
Like a year later, but of course he was, fired and rehired. So,
that's a great point, man. And like I said, I want to tie back to this box office before we dive into Loki. But before we dive into that, I will say from all the little comments I've read, I didn't hear anything about Twice. I didn't hear anything about Taskmaster too much. So I don't know if that's one of those situations where they didn't want to say too much because it's spoiler territory. A lot of people speculate that they think Rachel Weisz is the Taskmaster based on, the theories and trailers and all that. So I wonder if that's a good thing or a bad thing. Do you guys have any opinions on not hearing anything about Taskmaster, who's I thought was the main protagonist of the film or antagonist, but I didn't hear any Taskmaster at all, or Rachel Weisz. Amanda, any opinions on that?
I just think it's a major spoiler for that to be under wraps and like not many people talking about. I think it's a major spoiler because I even saw in other threads where they're like, it's a major spoiler. There's like other like major moments and like people popping up and stuff, and then it's like post-credit scenes and stuff like that. So I think that is just like they can't. So
they can't. Well, they just feel like they would say something that they probably I got you. More so than them not being good characters, just probably didn't want to bring it. Are you thinking the same thing, Chris, in regarding why we didn't hear anything about those two characters?
Yeah, I think the same thing, but I also don't want to hear anything else ever. I think it's a long time before the movie comes out for people to have been watching this and talking about it on the internet. I think I'm looking at the calendar like, wait a minute, that's a lot of, it's like almost a month. And like, I hate to read these things. I hate the first looks. I do watch the trailers, but like, this is insane. I mean, I don't know when like the reviews are embargoed besides social media, but it's a lot. It's a lot very early.
That's true, man. And I think the earliest I can think of was probably In the Heights, because In the Heights was like that was like a year ago. I feel like In the Heights was like people talking about that in 2018.
It's true.
But also like In the Heights is a fucking play. Like we know how it goes. Like,
right.
This is like the new, like one of the biggest Marvel releases since Spider-Man. So it's like I don't know what they're doing with that. Like you don't need to leak it this
Hype
early.
train.
Like, you were gonna watch it anyway. So
Yeah,
That's a good
That's-
point.
that's
I just want. Yeah, I wonder why they put it out so early. It's not like Marvel's suffering from bad content, but
yeah.
who knows? Who knows? Kevin Feige, what the hell are you doing now? But Brandon, before we wrap it up, man, just your opinion on thoughts on why we haven't heard anything about. Are you kind of one of the same that it's probably too spoiler to talk about those characters?
Yes, and I definitely agree with Chris 100%. I'm just glad that no one mentioned it. It's probably a spoiler. I don't want to know anything about them because I just want to be surprised. So I'm pretty happy that no one said anything about them. So good or bad. So that's dope to me.
Awesome, guys. Well, hey, I appreciate you guys looking at those reactions with me again. I read some of the comments. You guys seem to be on the same page as us. And before we go to Loki, just quick, Amanda, box office weekend. How much is this making on the weekend? Just throwing a number out there.
I don't 100 to 200 mil. I don't know. It's I don't know. Yeah, I think. Well, tickets are selling
crazy.
now.
They are.
I don't know. That's like me being ambitious. Maybe 50 million if it's going to be lower. We'll see. I don't know.
That is a wide range there. I love it. 50 to 200 million.
I'm going half and half. Like, I'm not good with this stuff, but like, yeah.
Chris, man, you're same question, man. And I guess to put it in perspective, as Amanda brought up earlier, A Quiet Place did I think 57 million, but of course that's a horror film, not MCU. And I think I want to say, who was it? King Kong, Godzilla. Yeah, I'm trying to remember. Was that 50 or 60 million too? And that was back in March.
I don't remember. They're the second highest behind A Quiet Place too, so I'm sure it's around that number.
Yeah.
So if you were to put a number on Black Widow opening weekend, what you got, man?
I gotta go with Amanda. It could be $1.
It could be $1.
100 billion. No, I think
right here. So.
Yeah, exactly. $1, Bob. I think it easily gets number one. So then you're at least at 60. I wouldn't be surprised 85 to 100.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. That's kind of where I'm thinking too. Brandon, man, if you had a number to put on Black Widow open the weekend, considering that it is $30 on Disney Plus, and there's going to be some pirates out there swimming in the seas, maybe watching that film online, but taking that into consideration, Black Widow, what's his raking in opening weekend?
Well, just first real quick, the Godzilla vs. Kong was 31 million.
Okay. Gotcha.
And I just looked it up. I'm going to go in between 97 and 115 million.
Ooh,
specific.
Because people are salivating to get out the crib.
Yep.
I mean, the Marvel MCU films are the most anticipated, successful films ever. And so probably more on the lower side, but anywhere from 97 to 115.
Yeah.
Awesome. Hey, some great predictions. And I'll put my number on. I'm going to say Black Widow will make $87 million opening weekend. That's my number for the weekend. Oof. Could be higher. We'll see. But I'm thinking 87 range. Let us know in the chat, guys, if you guys have any numbers, you box office fans out there of Black Widow opening weekend. So that is that. We talked Black Widow. Really good discussion there. But now it's time to have some real fun. We're talking Loki, guys. We're talking the God of Mischief. We're talking Mobius and Timekeepers. And starting with you, Amanda, before we actually break it all down and I get everything lined up here. Just initial take. Number one, we didn't have you last week. What did you think about episode 1? And then after watching episode 2, where are you at with this show so far?
I did not like episode 1. I know. I don't want to say it for you, Chris. But I thought the pacing was off. In the first episode, it felt really just like a chore to sit through. It was very interesting. There were emotional moments as well, but for me to get into it and this world that they created, it was a bit rocky for me. I'm not saying it was bad. It was a good start. But yeah, the emotional moments with Loki when he kind of just saw his life in the alternate universe. Beautiful work from Tom Hiddleston. I loved it. I love that Owen Wilson's in the MCU. He adds his own little personality to the character, and I love that. Also, I like to bring up the fact that there was a kid that pointed at a devil, and I literally screamed. I'm like, no, we're not gonna get 6 weeks of Mephisto. I'm gonna cry. But yeah, that was the one I was just screaming. But there's a lot of stuff to unpack in the first episode.
Yeah.
and I have my little notepad and everything. So it was good, but I really loved episode 2, and I'm really excited for episode 3. So it's getting better, Chris. It's getting better. Okay, just. We're good.
Hey, speaking of Chris, man, tossing it to you, man. After coming and we talked last week about, we all seem to really had a good time with episode 1. But now that you've seen episode 2, man, we got Lady Loki, we got some bombs dropping in the multiverse. Just your general take on this second episode, and which one do you prefer more?
Got my little man here. He stays close to me, just making sure they keep him out of trouble. Yeah, I don't know the answer. I think I like 2 better, but I don't really know why. Well, number 1 gave me so much like stuff, and I was like, this is a lot of stuff. I like stuff. But for some reason, episode 2, I was like, okay, now I get the flow. To Amanda's point, it was kind of a lot in episode 1, but episode 2, I was like, damn, I get the little flow now. I know where we're going. Like, and then I kind of get that emotional like down where you're just like, damn, it's only 4 more. So I think that 2, by definition, was good for me. I think if I had to vote, I'll take 2 over 1. But I think they're both really good. Maybe the best first 2 out of the 3 shows.
Gotcha, man. And same with you, Brandon. Just I know we talked about it the last few days, but just your thoughts on feeling better about episode 2 versus episode 1, and based off this second episode, are you excited for the weeks ahead?
Well, first, definitely agree with Chris is saying that these first 2 episodes are better than the previous 2 shows, WandaVision and Falcon and Winter Soldier. They've been knocking these out the park. Definitely excited for what's to come, especially with the way this one ended. But going, like we spoke about it yesterday, initially, I thought episode 1 was better because it was a lot of stuff and it was just fun. I mean, like our world was flipped upside down, inside out. It was so entertaining. But just talking with everybody and watching it multiple times, like I'm on the fence on which one I like the most, because they both had something different, but they just had so much substance to each of them, and I don't know. It's kind of hard for me to say which one I like more. I'm still probably leaning more to 1, but it's very close. It's very close on which one I like more than the other.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Well, I definitely, and I said it yesterday, and I said it when I reviewed episode 1 and 2. I think I enjoy episode 2 a little bit more, especially after watching it for the third time. Because the first episode, like you said, man, it was a lot to take in. We learned about Infinity Stones don't mean a damn thing to the TVA, and it's just like we've been talking about Infinity Stones for the last 10 years, and then just in the drawer. But obviously, getting over that heel, and just kind of that really just puts into perspective that we're dealing with phase 4. It's something bigger, larger, bigger in scope and scale. So, but I think this episode 2, we didn't really have that, not saying that episode 1 was the exposition dump, but we didn't have a bunch of exposition. We were just in it. We're now in the world. We understand slightly who the TVA are and timekeepers. So obviously there's more to reveal, but it just kind of hit the ground a little bit more running to me, and just kind of introduced obviously Lady Loki, and we'll talk about a lot of people speculating that they don't believe that is Lady Loki and all that stuff. But I just really enjoyed the tone and the pacing of the second episode, and of course, that ending is something to talk about for sure. So before we actually get and break it all down, like I said, I don't want to forget this. A wonderful friend of ours, especially a man that knows this guy really well as well, Stefano on Instagram. He is an incredible artist who puts together great art, but also, as you guys can see on the screen now, he puts together, custom hats. And as you guys can see on the screen now, he put together a Loki custom hat that if you're a Loki fan, you're definitely going to take this and rock it everywhere you go. So we're giving this away. As long as you are in the US or in Canada, you can qualify to win this awesome hat made by this incredible artist. So all you gotta do, guys, very simple. We'll announce the winner at the end of the stream, but just subscribe to all of our channels. Again, all of our links are in the bio, as well as let us know in the chat if you guys want to enter the contest, so it can make it a little bit easier for me to kind of keep tally of everything. And simply the way we're going to pick, I'm going to have my panel pick a winner. If whether it be best comments, engagement, to really determine who's going to win this awesome hat. So I'm going to leave it up to the panelists to choose. So guys, stick around to the end of the stream so you can maybe win this awesome hat. So we'll be announcing that winner at the end. And also too, it'll be helpful if you have an Instagram or a Twitter for I can contact you, so you can get into contact with him, so he can send you that free hat. So free giveaway, guys. Low-key fans out there, if you want to win a hat, stick around to the end, and you might be the lucky winner. So with all that being said, let's break it all down, guys. Let's get into this actual episode 2, which was titled The Variant. We jump right to 1985. We're at this fair We meet C20, played by Sasha Lang, really great actress. Hope we get more of her in the show. If not in the show, maybe in the MCU. She's there with her Minutemen. They spot that there's a variant there, but they are underestimated. As Loki says, you cannot underestimate a Loki because they're always 10 steps ahead of everyone. So we see someone in the shadows use their power, as we know at the end of the episode, to be Lady Loki, use her power to manipulate Hunter C20. She takes out them pretty easily. They actually, we see Loki killing the people as well. But this is a nice little moment here because she actually gets this device, their navigational system, which I think is just so cool. It has Miss Minutes. I would love to get like a phone with Miss Minutes on it, like Siri, because she's just such a fun character. But this is just so funny to me. Settings, and it has a little, the portal things. It's very simplistic, but at the same time, their technology is new and advanced, but it's also they have like old technology. So it's just so funny seeing the combination of the two. But this person's out on the mission. They get their the reset bombs and they're ready to get on their mission. So and they take C20 hostage, which I think is a really critical part to the end of this episode. But before we get into the next parts here, just starting with you, Amanda, just opening up this scene, talking about this ambush, and we're off. Starting the show. Your thoughts?
I thought it started off extremely well, and also the song choice of Holding Out for a Hero. I love that song. It reminded me of Shrek, but that's besides the point. But I loved the song choice after I watched it the second time. The first time I felt like it was out of place, and then because you kind of know what happens at the end of the episode, the lyrics really hit differently in the second episode, and for the ending, the second time I watched it. So I really enjoyed the song choice. But yeah, the opening was kick-ass. I really enjoyed it. And it was a better start for me than first episode. But that's just me personally. It was more exciting. Yeah. I'm like, who's this? I want to know who this is. So I was invested in the second episode from the second it started. So.
And something that you just mentioned there too, after watching the replay, I Need a Hero, thinking that they were referring to our Loki being this new hero. But what if that Loki is the hero? It's interesting that they played that song. That's when we're introduced to that character. So maybe that person is actually the hero. So Chris, man, your take on this opening sequence, meeting C20, seeing the Minutemen getting taken out, and now she has her device, she got her bombs, and she's also on her mission.
Yeah, strong opening. Last week, I get the opening for last week. You got to catch people up, especially people who are like more casual fans. I get it. It's no problem. It gave me like some Annihilation vibes. I don't know if y'all watched that movie. I think maybe it was It gave me some Annihilation vibes in that scene. And this is like, no, it's like, when the memes are, it's like nobody, and then it's Tait, like nobody, blank, Tait. The TVA is already so much cooler, and I'm more invested than the fucking Flag Smashers. Like, I don't even know who that girl is, and I'm like invested more than the whole season of Falcon and the Flag Smashers. It's true. I was like, every one of these TVA goons, I'm like, damn, I already care about them. This is crazy. That's what I took away.
Flag Smashers. We don't talk about those Flag Smashers anymore, man.
Don't
exist.
My gosh. Don't exist.
Brandon, man, your take on this opening. Again, we see they need a hero, and here's a hero coming to save them, maybe, and taking on this mission to set up the multiverse. Your take on this opening sequence, man?
Yeah, first, even before that, well, it was great opening sequence, but I love when the Minutemen showed up. The woman, the regular human that was there, was just like, hey, you're out of costume. And she was getting frustrated with them, talking about, we need this, because the escapism. I get it. But I am so happy that the Minutemen got their asses kicked. Like, and especially by one Loki. I mean, I'm sure they're nice people, and I don't mean, them any harm. But at the same time, I like the fact that there's a balance of power here, that they're not just some all-powerful beings and they can just go around and doing whatever they want. When they're in the TVA, they have superiority over everyone. But when they're back on regular planes of existence, they can die and get burnt up or get stabbed. By Lady Loki or whatever. So I like that, because even though I did enjoy the first episode, I was feeling some type of way about them just being all overpowered and overpowerful. But this just kind of brings them back down to a level that's manageable. And I appreciated that. And also C20, I just don't like her. She just looks like a douche or something. She just...
it's true.
I don't know. I wasn't getting good vibes from her, so she's going to be very humbled now, and I like that.
Yeah, it'll be, and we'll talk about maybe what her role might be after her telling where they can find timekeepers and how the hell does she know where to find timekeepers. But yeah, we'll see what we get with C20. And it's interesting that Loki decided to take C20. I wonder if that plays anything into anything. I don't know, saying a lot of anythings there, but we'll see. But as we kind of move forward here, we see Loki getting a little history lesson per se, or getting having some fun, I should say. He's first off, we'll talk about the jet ski, and I think we all can say we want to see Mobius on that jet ski by the end of this show or sometime in the future. I don't know, in credits of the next Avengers film. Yeah, we got to see it, right?
For sure.
But is some really important dialogue here as Loki's reading the magazine and talking to Miss Minutes. You know, there's a moment in this where she says, you know, obviously Loki's playing around, but quiz for everyone on the panel, starting with you, Amanda. What happens, and you guys probably know you're going to be quizzed. We'll keep you on your toes. What happens when a Nexus event branches past the red line? Amanda, 5 seconds. What happens?
I got nothing for you.
Chris, what happens? What happens, Chris?
I don't know, but I remember that was a great answer by Loki.
Yeah.
Brandon, what happens when that branch happens, man? That red line goes over.
The end of time. No, it can't be erased. It's permanent now, right?
Ding, ding, ding. Brandon got it right, guys. Yeah, to quote Miss Minutes, it's when the TV, or I should say when Loki answers her, is when the TVA can no longer reset the Nexus event, which ties into what we get at the end of this episode, potentially. But I think it's very key that talks about what obviously happens in this episode, but might speak to the multiverse of madness later on in the MCU. But again, Loki, you know, he's playing around, and it's so funny about Loki. You think he's playing around, but he keeps that knowledge in the back of his head. He's always, you know, he gives you a certain appearance, but he's listening and watching everything, learning about the timekeepers. I'm watching you, Loki. But number one, I'm going to keep saying it. I'm telling you all right now, number one sold plush doll, Funko Pop. The kids will be dressing up like Miss Minutes. This character, man, I'm loving this character. I think this is going to be the hottest toy out there this Christmas season. But as we move forward, we see, you know, him talking about the magazine and everything that he's learned, but he's getting Loki's getting some gear, man. He's finally going to go on the field. He's going to, you know, help out these Minutemen, help out Mobius in their search for this variant, which is a very big moment here as we talk about it. So before we even get to that, I'm loving the banter that Hunter B-15 has with Loki. She knows, Mosaku knows, do not trust this Loki. We can't trust this Loki. He's a cosmic mistake. I just love their back and forth. But this is a big scene, guys, because we get a very important moment in regards to the variant. This is the name of the episode, and we learn that the TVA has had their hands filled with so many different variations and variant Lokis. They come in different shapes and sizes. They come from different multiverse. And they also, as Mr. Mobius is explaining to the Minutemen, they all have they have essentially the same powers, but they also have different powers, which may explain why Lady Loki, as we're assuming this Lady Loki, can manipulate people's mind and take on their appearances. And we really haven't. We've seen Loki pretend to be other people like Captain America and Dark World, but we haven't seen him be able to make people do what he wants besides what we saw him doing in Avengers with the times or the Tesseract. So very interesting stuff there. Starting with you, Brandon, just your take on this whole kind of rah-rah, bring the team together. This is the mission, but also learning some valuable information about these variant Lokis and how they're all slightly the same, but also different.
I like it. I hope that it wasn't just a tease. I hope that we're going to see some type of development in that, you know, them opening it up and seeing what all these variants and, you know, different Lokis can do. We see this one right here is blue. But also Wunmi, was it Hunter C-15? I'm loving that she's, you know, the boss, telling everybody what to do. You know, she's calling all the shots. But yeah, I hope this is more than just a tease, and we get to see this develop into so much more.
Definitely. Chris, man, your thoughts on these variant Lokis. They're always a thorn in the TVA. And it's so key, too, that Loki is always a setter of things. As we know in our MCU, he was the one that created the Avengers. So it only makes sense that these Lokis are causing havoc and chaos to the time variants, which might speak to not having free will. Well, it seems like Lokis have a lot of free will. So I don't know, maybe that whole free will thing isn't true. But your take on this whole sequence here, Chris?
Yeah, I thought it was a cool sequence. My only nitpick, I hated when she asked him to turn around about the jacket. They could have made that cooler or smoother.
The variants,
Yeah. But, you know, besides that, I was like, it must be crazy to be Loki just watching all this. Like, wait, I can do all, like, he's acting very nonchalant about this. Like, he's like not surprised that like all this is going on. But I thought it was a cool like lesson for us as a viewer to see like these different versions, and then like how Loki's explaining like what he can and can't do and all this kind of stuff. I thought it was cool.
Well said, man. I totally agree with you there. Amanda, your take on these variant Lokis, and is it safe to assume that we're going to meet another Loki later down the road in this show?
Yeah, I mean, I hope so. It'd be fun if you have like, you basically said that you have all these possibilities. Like, why not add another one and another one and keep going? But another one. I love this sequence. Again, I thought the dialogue was so much better. The writing was better in this episode. It flowed more. But I think that with Loki in general, if the general audience has no idea about like the multiverse and any of this is the perfect starting point for literally anyone like moving forward, because you learn so much within first 2 episodes. Like, I have pages of notes. Like, it's really good for that reason. And you can already like have the ideas forming of how this is going to connect to Multiverse of Madness, how this is going to connect to Spider-Man. So that's why it's so much fun to watch, and finding out about all these alternate Lokis. It's going to be interesting to see how this season ends. So I'm curious, and this was like perfect setup.
No, I totally agree with you, and also too, I think that going back to like how that keywords that Miss Menace was saying to Loki regarding obviously what happens when you can't control the multiverse going on in madness. In this scene, it's very important we see Loki explaining these powers, the duplication and everything of that nature. I think it's inevitable that I think we'll see either Renslayer, Mobius, or Timekeeper themselves be duplicated by either Lady Loki or some version Loki taking on that persona of that person. I think that is something that we will see later down the road. So I think we can keep an eye out for that, or look out for that, kind of like a scroll type of situation. So very excited to see these variant different Lokis out there. But quick shout out to Sandra Droda, $3.29, $3.99 super chat. Nothing to say, just want to show support. Well, that support, you don't have to say anything. It's a support that means so much. I appreciate you, number one, stopping by, giving a super chat, being in the live stream. Thank you so much for the super chat, and thank you for being here tonight as well. So again, guys, if you guys want to support the channel, the best thing to do is give the video a thumbs up, share it. We got 44 people in the chat. Make sure to subscribe to all these great content creators. And again, we got a giveaway going on. So if you guys want to win a free Loki hat, keep the conversation going. We got Larry. I just saw we got Larry in the chat saying Killmonger is the right. And look, if you guys don't know, Brandon's having a good laugh. Again, if you guys tune into Brandon's live stream, this is Killmonger's #1 fan. I think that he will be rioting if we don't see any more Killmonger in the MCU. But glad Larry can tune in tonight representing his Michael B. Jordan Killmonger. But as we kind of move forward, guys, we got some more stuff to kind of break down here. And again, I think that key moment of Loki, knowing the Lokis and the powers that they have is really, really interesting. But as we move forward, we see Mr. Loki getting an opportunity to be on the field, and he definitely takes advantage of it and does what we know Loki to do, which is play games and to play a lot of games and to trick people, as Mobius and him are talking about. Did you watch any of the videos? And I felt like it's so realistic. Like whenever you get a new job, just like, I watched all 9,000 videos about how to, do this, that, and the other. So again, Loki and the smirk and the back and forth with him and Mobius is really interesting. So I want to know, just starting with you, Brandon, did you for a slight second trust Loki when he was trying to tell the Minutemen, wait, he's tricking us. I have sharper ears, but my, or teeth, but my ears are sharper. What'd you think about Loki? Did you trust him in that moment, man?
Oh, definitely. I 100%. I believed him initially, because he's in completely in like unknown territory here in another dimension. So he wants to meet the timekeepers. I'm thinking, okay, he's going to be smart, try to get in on their good graces and not ruin a relationship. So I thought he was trying to help out, but he was pulling the fast one, prolonging it, wasting time, the typical old Loki. So he did trick me, and that's interesting because I should have known that was coming. But yeah, he got me. I believed him at first.
Hey, it ties into what happens at the end, as you say. You talk so much, you can trick people, as we see. But Mobius isn't falling for those tricks because he's it'll be interesting to see if we learn if Mobius has had some interactions with the previous Loki and has learned some tricks of his own. But Chris, man, your take on this whole Loki trying to dupe Mobius and try to get I'm gonna need some insurances and all this stuff. They're doing what we know Loki to do in the MCU.
Honestly, like I want to say right now and lie to y'all and be like, yo, by the time at the end, I was like, you talking too long. I believed him the whole way. I was like, damn, you got me again. Like, which is so like meta for the show to be like, just take us on this journey. And I love when he asked him, did you watch the videos? It reminded me of maybe it was Avengers with Stark, and he's like, am I the only one that did the reading?
Yeah.
Because he's like, he actually did the fucking reading. I was like, damn, this is so good. I love that part.
Yeah.
That's a great call, man. Amanda, your take on Mr. Loki working his trickery ways, trying to get the Minutemen. As again, I love that Mosaku. She's just like, no, I don't even hear what he's saying. Let's get out of here before the time branch happens.
I love her. She's amazing. But yeah, like I just love listening to Tom Hiddleston talk. He can go on for hours. I'm like, I believe everything that you're saying. It's like, yeah, we're gonna get into some trouble. It's like, yep, I believe everything you're saying, but I love it. Like his line delivery is perfect. He's like God tier casting in like comic book films. I think he's absolutely brilliant. Yeah. And this show is just showing, how amazing he is, and his chemistry with Owen Wilson. It didn't get me in the first episode, but man, are they building a great freaking relationship. I'm just so excited to see what happens moving forward.
That is such a great point, man. And again, this is buddy cop at its finest, right? Classic 90s film. You have guy that plays by the book, which is Mobius, versus the guy, if this is, Lethal Weapon, we have, obviously these two characters, polar opposites, but they're in game. They're trying to do good, but their own way. They're both working each other, by the way. We see Mobius is working low-key. Yeah. Oh, yeah, you'll get a time with the timekeepers. Yeah, all that stuff, and low-key vice versa. So this is this classic. They're going to be the best of friends by in this show, and I think there will be a role reversal as well. But great call out there, man. But before we move forward, a couple other super chats that we got in. Pound the Pavement, thank you so much. Lady Loki, aka Sylvia, which we'll get into that reveal, was like, go back to the CW set, young lady.
That comment.
CW, huh? We're talking CW and Marvel. Okay, Pound the Pavement, I see where you're at. But thank you so much. I know this is someone that supports a lot of Brandon's channel, so I appreciate you coming over and show some support to Brandon and joining the stream tonight. So thank you for the super chat and the great comment there. And I think there was another one that I might have missed that I want to shout out to. Ren's a big supporter of the channel. I know she checks out Brandon's channel as well. Such a great supporter of all contents, and I really appreciate you stopping by. So glad to have these discussions again. Love and support always. Thank you so much. Thank you for the super chat. Thank you for the support. You're completely awesome, and I thank you. And to everyone, again, 45 people in the chat, thumbs up, share. Let's continue the conversation. And again, we got a giveaway that we're going to be doing later in the episode. And I'm keeping knowledge of all these great, the super chats and all the great conversations. Again, I'm going to have my panel pick out the winner, but it's going to be a fun time when we give away that hat. But there was another comment I had saw. We'll talk about Kang here in a little bit, because there's some Kang stuff going on in this episode for sure, which actually to that point brings us to this is an interesting conversation that we have in this episode. Many great conversations, but this to me, we see Loki, obviously the mission, he's duping Mobius, and Renslayer is just like, why do you trust this variant so much? But this conversation was interesting, guys. So first and foremost, we have this kind of, I know you talked about it yesterday, Brandon. This seems to be maybe an attraction between the two, between Renslayer and Mobius. We'll see what happens there. But the biggest thing I took away from this scene is the way Mobius talks about the timekeepers. Number one, he's never met the timekeepers, which is interesting. And the way he kind of says, so what's going on with the old timekeepers is kind of sarcastic-y. Like, does he even believe in the timekeepers? As we see Renslayer say, they're so busy, they're doing this, they're paying so much attention to this case, which brings me to this question, ladies and gentlemen. I love me some Gugu, but can we trust Renslayer? Starting with you, Amanda. Not only Renslayer, but TVA and the timekeepers. Is there some secrets that they might be hiding?
There's definitely secrets. Secrets. Like they look shady, majority of them. So I don't know what could be coming. Again, like I don't really read the comics as much as I would like to, but whatever you guys are about to say to blow my mind, I'm excited to know.
Chris,
So-
man, are you on the same wavelength as this? There's some lies, there's some secrets. Are there 3 timekeepers? Is there 1 timekeeper? Are there any timekeepers at all? What's your take on this conversation between these 2?
It's a loaded question that I don't probably have the right answer to, but I would. It feels like the timekeepers are very Wizard of Ozzy. That's the first thing I thought when I was watching the episode, and especially the fact that Owen Wilson offered Loki a chance and let Loki get an audience with him. I'm like, he's not going to give that up to you. Number one, if he really thought he could, he wouldn't do that. So that's why I thought he's just trolling you. I know Googs. She's. I know in my heart. I know she's gonna be good. I know she's not gonna let me
Or
down.
do you cast someone like that because we always expect them to be good?
No, she's not gonna let me down. I'm gonna die on that hill. The whole TVA, they're definitely hiding something. You know, when he goes to like the library or whatever, everything's classified. No building that's that dark, if they don't got good lighting, is grimy in there. Something's going down. They don't want you to see something. It's too dark in there. I'm like, why is this? It looks like they're just stuck in this like lull of like this amber glow. So it's like it's shady. It's definitely shady. I just don't know what the front is yet.
Brandon, man, and a lot of good stuff there you guys said, Amanda and Chris. Brandon, what are your gut? What is your gut telling you about the timekeepers? Renslayer, as Brandon said, yes, it's Gugu. We love her. She's always the person you're rooting for. But like I just said, I don't think you cast someone, again, Catherine Hahn. You cast Catherine Hahn because we love her. She's a comedian, but she's the villain of WandaVision. Jonathan Majors, we love him, but he's King the Conqueror. I don't know, Brandon. What you thinking, man?
Oh yeah, and shout out Mara Charisse talking about Belle with Gugu, with the hard eye emoji. She's wonderful. But hell no, we can't trust the TVA or Gugu. You know what I'm saying? Especially the timekeepers. Now, I will, as far as the Wizard of Oz reference, I will be disappointed if it is some type of chicken shit behind the curtains pulling on the strings or whatever.
Yeah.
I do think that they are all powerful beings. But no, we definitely cannot trust them or the TVA. They're definitely hiding secrets. We can't trust Gugu, Ravana, but I think she's more ignorant than sinister. I think I think she just may not know, and she may, switch sides or something like that. Also, I do think that Mobius and her have something going on, or if it's not mutual, he's feeling her in some capacity. He may have shot a shot sometime back in the day, and she kind of just be like, "Yeah, we co-workers, dude." Right. I don't know, but also I just got to add, like, Mobius is miserable to me. He's not happy with his job. He's gonna leave the TVA. He believes what he believes it, but he has his doubts. He just like, is this really the right thing that we should be doing? And we'll get to that point later when they're talking in the cafeteria. But overall, no, we cannot trust the TVA. They have a ton of things up their sleeve.
You guys are hitting it right in the head. I don't think we can trust them. And we talked about it last week. And again, Marvel doesn't always. They're not slaves to the comics, but when there's smoke, there's fire in the comics. Now, Renslayer isn't a huge character in the comics, but she does have a pretty important relationship with a character that we're all speculating may or may not be in the show, which is Jonathan Majors' appearance as King the Conqueror. They do have a relationship. There were some key words in this scene. Number one, when Mobius, again, if there is some sexual tension or if there's some jealousy, he says, "Oh, you're not. I have other analysts that I deal with." So I don't know. Was he an ex-analyst at some point, an agent going rogue on the field? And is, King the Conqueror, he's obsessed with time in the comics. So was he, did he find out something about the TVA and find out something about the timekeepers that made him veer off and have that free will to become, Nathaniel Reed's becoming King the Conqueror? Only time will tell there. But maybe she's working for a Kang, maybe as in the comics, that's her boyfriend. Maybe it's as they do in the MCU. Maybe it's a relative. It's a family member of sorts that she's trying to protect or under control of, or whatever the case may be. But I think there might be something to be said about how she mentioned other analysts Mobius leaving the ring, the cup every time he visits her. There's something there, man, and I can't wait to find out what that something is. But I did find it interesting. I know we talked about it on Lamont's channel last night, Brandon, when he brought up the Franklin D. Roosevelt pin, as Mobius points out. Oh, I've never seen this pin before, and where'd you get this from? I know. Lamont brought up that Roosevelt is his full name, Nathaniel Richards Roosevelt, but it's also interesting too that this Franklin, speaking of our guy Brandon's representing Texas back in the 60s. Franklin D. Roosevelt was one of the first Black African American high schools, which if we're tying it into Kane the Conqueror, played by Jonathan Majors, maybe this was a pivotal point for I don't know if he went to the school in the 60s or if he visited that timeline and appreciate that. That would be something interesting to see if that is a totem or a trophy that Jonathan Majors, aka Nathaniel, maybe gave to his ex-girlfriend of some sort. So speculations and the theories and the Easter eggs, we'll see what comes with all that. But getting back to some of the funnier moments of, again, this TVA association, as Loki is told by Mobius, listen, dude, you got your last chance. Do some work. Go do some homework. Read all the files, and don't come to me. This sounds like my mom or something. Don't come to me until you're done doing your homework, and then we can talk about some ice cream or something later. But as we see him talking to this secretary character who just doesn't want him to be there, like, what can you get out of my face, please? He rings the bell. He wants to know the creation of time, the creation of TVA, classified, like Chris mentioned earlier, which is it really classified or is it just make-believe stuff? Or are there files to look into? But we see that she says, yeah, I'll give you a file. And then it's, of course, the file on Loki, which he, I love this moment because we talked about the acting. And this is a good moment here as Loki sees the what happened in the events of Ragnarok, which, to me, this is acting on another level. I don't know how actors do this, and particularly what he did. When you have a tear on your eye, but it doesn't run down your face, that's how do you have that type of control over your emotions? A really great moment for Loki there. But before we even kind of move forward, Amanda, just your whole take on doing the homework, Loki, again, showing his wits, but also finding out about Ragnarok and finding out the destruction of Asgard, and just him going back to, again, this path that he went on led to death of his mom, obviously, his death, also the people, his brother, or I should say his dad. Your thoughts on this, Loki, and just, again, this perspective of the God of Mischief?
It's so much to process for him, and I don't even know how he's dealing with that other than just constantly overthinking his own life and what he needs to do to prevent certain things and how he becomes a certain way. So it's just, I think that even just seeing his file and then realizing that Asgard's it's no longer there, him being that emotional, it's great to see that from Loki, because we didn't really see him get that emotional in the MCU. So him having that spotlight and showing those emotions, it's great to see him like that. But also, before that, I feel like even his facial reactions, the humor, it was a bit better in this episode as well. The jokes landed a bit more, and the pacing was much better. But having that balance, and he shows it beautifully. He's very talented, and you can see that in this episode. And I love this scene and then the scene that follows. So the big chunk of great work from him.
A lot of great stuff you said there, Amanda, which actually kind of bring this question to you, Chris. Is it possible by the end of the show that Loki will get the opportunity to go back to the timeline in 2012 when he was captured by the Avengers? That way he wants to not have his mom be killed. That way we don't have Asgard be destroyed and Odin and all that stuff. Is there a possibility that happens, or am I just making all that?
It's a tough thing to undo all of that, which you always talk about. You don't want time movies and shows to do that.
Right. Yeah. Right. Undoing all that, unpacking all that. Yeah.
And kind of to Amanda's point, it brings me back to Thor: The Dark World, one of the most underrated movies in the MCU. Is that we spend so much time seeing Loki being like a dick and acting like he doesn't care, but then he tells his mom Odin's not my dad, he doesn't care about Thor, but then this show is showing us you care about Asgard, you're not even Asgardian, but you care about the planet, you care about the world. So I was like, damn, this is a good little insight. This guy really knows, even though he's adopted, it's he really felt like part of that world. So I was like,
yeah, it's true.
This is good.
Well said, man. Well said. And Brandon, man, your take on just this whole setup, again, coming from, Loki doing the homework, looking up the paper, finding out what happened to his people, to having this emotional moment. Just your take on, again, I guess the performance that we're getting from Tom Hiddleston.
Yeah, man, it broke my heart. This dude can act. And you said it yourself, how do you get a tear just to come out of your eyes?
Sit there.
Right there. Like I really felt his pain, and he has such a hard exterior, but that shell has been cracked and obliterated, and he just spilling out, busting out of all the seams right here. I loved it. One of my favorite scenes in the episode, but probably coming in at number 2 or 3. But yeah, he's fantastic.
Yeah, well said, guys. And again, just showing how Loki is. He can be emotional 1 second, but he's still paying attention to the details as he sees this file and learns and kind of puts 2 and 2 together. Wow. What if I was, trying to hop around a timeline? Wouldn't this be a good place to hide during all this? Which he comes to the conclusion and comes up with this wacky, clumsy theory of a sorts while Mobius is eating his lunch and using the metaphor of the salt and pepper and all that stuff, just like Mobius. And again, it goes back to what Brandon said earlier. This man just wants to eat his lunch because, I think there is something to be said, Brandon, like you mentioned, he's not happy with his job, and it takes that one person like a Loki to realize that your life sucks, right? And he's just kind of like, dude, I just want to eat my lunch. I don't want to deal with you. You read all the files. I love their band.
That's so funny.
But again, it just shows the genius of what Loki is capable of. He sees the devils in the details and sees this kind of situation there between the two. And again, I love it. I love Mobius, and they casted Owen Wilson so well in this role. But he's just like, I got a theory. And let's test out that theory. And that's where we head on to Italy, Pompeii, 79 AD. This one I was cracking up because this is Tom Hiddleston again. This is kind of that Ragnarok Tom Hiddleston, Taika Waititi vibe where he's just jumping on the thing. And people, I am Loki. I come from the future. We're from the future, right? Sounds kind of futury. I just love the little banter there. But his whole theory is, if we go to these different apocalypses, if the destruction is meant to happen, you can go into these timeline and not be recognized by the TVA, which explains how Lady Loki, as we're assuming Lady Loki, was able to go through these different timelines. And again, it makes you wonder who else knows this knowledge, who maybe told Lady Loki that you can do this, and who's been doing this maybe the whole time. But I love this moment here as he's, the radar doesn't show anyone distracting the timeline because inevitably we know what happens to Pompeii. So really good moment by Loki. Again, he's using those wits, using those brains that he learned from classes of, Asgard as Loki. What did Thor say that they have? It was elective to speak Groot. So they got some pretty good classes up there in Asgard. But I think I know Brandon talked about that was maybe his second favorite scene. I think this was his favorite scene. And let's talk about it. Starting with you, Brandon. This to me is when the episode and MCU is speaking to some stuff that we all might theorize about belief systems and not to get too over the top about, if you believe in a certain religion or whatnot. And when you say certain things out loud and you kind of hear it out loud, it's like, yeah, timekeepers, TVA, we protect the timeline, Odin, Thor, all that stuff. It sounds kind of wacky to someone that's not familiar with it. So Brandon, man, your take on this intellectual conversation between these two characters.
Yeah, I'm gonna definitely talk on that, man. But I gotta take it back to the salad bowl too, man. That's hilarious. It's so rude to disturb somebody's lunch while they're eating. I mean, we've all been there, at whatever job you've had, and you cannot wait till you go pop that pizza in the microwave or whatever. If somebody comes and pours some milk in it,
oh no,
it's time to fight. It was crazy. And he just so nonchalant about it, like, yeah, salt and pepper, So that's funny. He was really frustrated. I hope that joke comes back around by the end of the season.
I would love that.
Yeah, the Pompeii thing was great. I've never seen anyone so excited about a destruction. He's like, yes, the volcano.
You're all gonna die.
Like he's like, let's just make bird noses. So the contrast between their characters is funny. But getting to this scene right here, like I stated before, this is one of my favorite scenes, not only in the show, but the whole MCU, because, everything is relative. They had the conversation just like, okay, where are you from? Frost giants, Odin, mystical realm. that sounds crazy too. And like to us, like if you're comparing timekeepers and Odin and the Odin Force and Surtur, that they both sound crazy to us, you know, but they're trying to distinguish it, you know. And I'm just like, it's just interesting that Mobius seems like he had an idea of how it was all going to end, and he was just fine with it. Like, yes, you know, we try to protect the past, timekeepers are unraveling the future, and look, what's the point, you know, so we can meet at the end of peace. And the whole free will thing is, and I don't know, it really makes my mind wonder. I mean, I have my own personal beliefs and stuff, but you know, at times I'm just kind of, I question myself and I check myself, like, okay, well, what if I believe is just completely wrong and I've been wrong my entire life, and vice versa. And this, you know, this just really made me think of that. This episode, and also Interstellar with Christopher Nolan.
Yeah.
Well, when I saw that film, I did a lot of research at YouTube University. You know, and watching this episode took me right back to that point. Just like, man, like what if everything is already, you know, predestined or thought out and stuff like that. So it was really thought provoking, and I loved it. I really did love it.
And really well said too, Brandon. And to that point that you just mentioned, because Loki does ask him about the whole free will thing, and he even calls out like, "Well, right now we're free of our own will, right?" And also it just speaks to the time. If everyone was, if everything was predetermined, then why wouldn't they be able to catch the Loki? Why wouldn't they be able to see the Loki going through these different timelines? So it just already shows a crack in the mythology of sorts that the TV has kind of created. So again, I think as we kind of hinted at, that Mobius will definitely kind of eventually veer off to maybe break his disbelief of a certain extent, and it takes a character like Loki to break it. So toss it to you, Amanda, just your take on this whole thought-provoking scene of beliefs in Asgard versus TVA, and just what that can maybe mean for both characters.
I mean, Brendan said it beautifully. This is such a well-written scene. I was like just so invested in everything that they were saying, apart from the fact that Owen Wilson was just like, give me back my food the whole time. It was just hilarious to me because like his face, like it's already a meme, and I'm so happy. It was just so funny. But yeah, like the conversation was amazing, and there's so many like great discussions that you can have for that. It opens up so many different possibilities as well. So the writing just blew me away in that scene. It's really strong. And yeah, again, like Brandon said it perfectly. I can't really add on that much, but other than the fact that it's a great scene, and it's also one of my favorite scenes in the MCU. They, again, like the chemistry just keeps building between the two of them. There's plenty of back and forth, and it's like it's not only humor. They're in-depth conversations and discussions, and then that's gonna develop both of their characters in a different way, and I love that.
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree with you more. And you know, Chris, your take on this conversation, man. And again, just Mobius, again, the whole idea, like Brandon alluded to, you know, okay, what's the end game? You know, once we get to control the time, we'll just be living in peace and happiness. And Loki's like, okay, yeah, that's a perfect, sounds like too perfect to be true. But your take on this conversation, man.
Yeah, I won't waste too much of your guys' time. I thought it was the best scene of the episode so far. I agree with everything that Brandon said, that Amanda said. One thing that stuck out to me is that the banter is undefeated with Owen and Loki so far. It's impressive that they're going so far, so long. But I remember, you know, when Loki says, you know, like this, like it sounds like nonsense, and then he's like, "All right, where are you from?" I was like, "Who's your dad?" Odin adopted me, but I'm a fucking frost giant. And he's like, and then he's, "Do you hear yourself?" Yep. He's like that was like the realest moment of the whole episode, and it brought to like I was like, this is great acting, great writing, that's genius. Yep. Then it brought it to real life, where like in real life we say people sound dumb, and it's like what we believe might be dumb too, but we refuse to even think of that you know, that perspective.
Possibility. Yep.
So it's like y'all both saying the same craziness, like, and then I think Mobius says like we believe what we believe. And I was like, ooh,
yeah. Really well said, man. I think it's a great, like you guys mentioned, I think it's one of the best scenes of the MCU thus far, at least in phase 4, which brings me, I mean, just to kind of veer off a little bit, going back to what you mentioned, Chris, the banter between those two. Let's just play it. Let's play this game for a second. WandaVision or if you were on a trip, you're on a road trip to Asgard. Are you in the car with WandaVision or say Wanda or Vision? Are you in the car with Bucky or Sam? Or are you in the car with Mobius and Loki? Starting with you, Chris. Since you posed that, you brought up the banter thing. I need to know, and everyone in the chat too. Who you guys riding with?
I'm definitely riding with Mobius and Loki for sure. I love Vision as the poet, but I can't hear poetry all the way to fucking Asgard, and I'm definitely not singing in the car with Sam. So that's not happening. I will crash that. You're turning this thing around.
Oh.
Damn.
Oh man.
Oh god.
No Mackie for you, man. No Mackie.
He probably don't even play the good songs on the aux cord.
He can spit bars. Remember that's he can spit bars. Brandon, man, who you rolling with on this trip, man?
That's a hard one. Definitely not Vision and Wanda. I would be too scared.
It'd be weird. Weird.
Man, I think I probably have to go with Sam and Bucky, just because I think I can trust them more. And I like Mobius, but he just needs to cheer up a little bit. To be on a road trip with him that long.
You want for trust?
Yeah.
How about the dude that's from Asgard? You're gonna get there in one piece.
Well, that's true.
Will you though?
He may stab me in the back. He may throw me off the window.
Right?
Exactly.
I don't know. I don't know. That's a good question. It's tough. That's tough.
All right. So we got one for Mobius and Loki. We got Sam and Bucky. Amanda, who I think I know, but you might surprise me.
Amanda's gonna say Sam and Bucky, but you can hold the Bucky. Go ahead.
No, I'm joking. I love both of them, so it'll be Sam. Obviously. I like rambled on for 6 weeks before, so I would definitely Woo
and Darcy might be a little more fun than Wanda and Vision.
Yeah.
So it sounds like no one wants to bring them on a trip. But I think I could go with Sam and Bucky, and the only reason I say that is because my man Bucky was in Wakanda, and I want to know some stuff. Tell me some Wakanda stories on our way to the trip.
You're thinking.
And then Sam, I guess I'll be like, hey man,
we'll just like leave him at the corner on the highway. You can hitchhike your way.
He's definitely the one that you make go get the snacks at the restaurant.
Right. Like the neck, the visors, the costumes. You got something about that, man. Yeah, we'll see. But I'll go. We'll fix him. But as we get back to it, again, guys, we got 40 people in the chat. Thank you guys for tuning in. Make sure you're liking the video, sharing the video, and like I said up top, we do have a giveaway that we will be doing for a Loki hat for a lucky winner out there. So make sure you guys are continuing the great conversation, and we're going to be announcing that winner at the end of the stream. But as we go back, speaking of the great two chemistries, they come and they use their brains. We see Mobius called Loki a scared little boy, which triggers him to be like, little boy, scared. Goes back to episode 1, Kabawi of this particular gum, gifted by the devil, as Loki and Mobius dig into the paperwork. They figure out that, where could this be? And they, again, these two are great together, man. And I know there was rumors about a season. Correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't they say they already greenlit a season 2 of Loki? Am I making that up? I could have sworn they announced that like a year ago.
Greg, I think spelled that. I think.
I don't know. I heard something like that too. So I don't know.
Because again, if we get a season 2, them two together is fantastic, and them figuring out things. And again, if they do leave the TVA, them on their own little time missions would be pretty dope. But speaking of pretty dope, this to me, again, that scene of them talking about belief system was really dope and really intellectual and really kind of thought provoking. But visually speaking, the score, the look of this scene, when they go to this particular mall with all the food and all that stuff, a rocks cart in 2050. Class 10 apocalypse. This to me is like, okay, this is why this is my favorite episode so far. This is to me what we can expect as far as the grand scale and just the nature of everything being set up here. And I'm so excited to see what happens after we get to what happens in the scene. But Loki, we know we can't trust him. He showed us in the very first or the second scene in this episode that he can't be trusted, but he says, trust me. And even Mobius himself says, it's always the guy that says, trust me, that you don't trust. But we see this hooded figure that we don't know who is going to be quite yet, already knows that they're going to be there. They have all the things set up. Mosaku, Hunter B15 saying, no, Loki, you're coming with me. I don't care what you say, Mobius, and all this stuff. But Unfortunately, she walked into somewhat of a trap of her own self. By the way, this scene was kind of funny. I think we talked about it last night. This black dude looking for flowers and plants in the middle of a hurricane. It's just like, that should have been your first warning, Wunmi. I mean, come on. But we see the powers of Loki, Lady Loki, as we assume it to be, taking control over her body. And we see this very interesting conversation. Loki finally gets to meet the superior version of him, or at least, they think they're the highest of themselves, as we expect from someone of this caliber. But we see that she has a plan set up. They got the time resetters around the mall. But this is a very important scene that we talked about earlier, going back to C20, starting with you, Amanda. Mm-hmm. She mentions that she gave it away. Well, first off, she says in this whole scene, it's real, it's real, it's real. I don't know what that means. It's real. Is it, did she not believe in it? I don't know. I guess just kicking it to you first. What do you think she was referring to when she kept saying it's real, it's real? And then she ultimately says, I gave away where you can find the timekeepers. First off, how does this field agent know where timekeepers will be found? And Mobius doesn't know. Again, it goes back to there's something being hidden behind the scenes with these TVA. But just your thoughts on this kind of sequence here.
Again, she could be connected to someone else and we have no idea. The whole it's real, I couldn't tell you. Maybe she finally believes in like different timelines. I have no idea. Yeah. But I really enjoyed this scene too. The only peeve that I have is that it was in a supermarket. I was like, why? Why? Like, you could have chosen any other place. Anyways, but I thought it was really cool. And then the other thing that I really enjoyed was the fact that there was still banter and it was very playful, even in like this like eerie atmosphere that they had, and they were like trying to navigate in there. And the fact that it was like darkly, like it wasn't lit. It was darkly lit. Yeah. And then you could see the green like moving like from to different places. I thought that was really sharp that they did that. But yeah, with her, like she could be connected to literally anyone. I don't know.
Yes, because like I said, when I rewatched today, what does she mean by it's real? Obviously, hopefully we'll hope to find that out, but I don't know if it's something we've come across yet. Because it's so interesting when they mentioned last week, the TVA created everybody in regards to the Minutemen, to the Mobius of the world. So like they don't even know. Casey didn't even know what a fish was. So again, what is this? What is it that she now believes in that she didn't believe in before? Which brings it to you, Chris, your take on this whole setup of Rock's card and the scene and the score, but obviously getting to this moment here, it's real, it's weird, real, and she gives away the location of the timekeepers.
Yeah, I was kind of happy that in 2051 we still had like Walmart, like that kind of thing, because I get sad when I think of the future, how we won't have things that we remember. Like something like, oh man, they still got like stores. So that was the first thing I thought, like, damn, like people got to still shop. This is good. I was kind of sad that Alabama still existed. I thought they would go extinct by then.
Yeah, they're still
still kicking. Damn, they go down hard. I really have no idea what she meant by it's real. It's real. A crazy theory would be like maybe all the agents think that they've been taught this lore, but they don't really believe it. Like they're out there just like fighting these like empty battles. Like they don't really think that they're really looking for anyone or anything's like really at risk. But maybe she's saying, like this, everything that we've been told is actually real and the shit is dangerous, like that kind of thing. But I have no idea.
And I wonder too, and this speaks into the body hopping that we'll talk about, Enchantress and all that stuff. But whenever a Loki consumes you or takes over you, again, just thinking of Avengers when Loki took over, Jeremy Renner's mind or Hawkeye's mind, they were kind of out of it a little bit. I wonder if there's some type of remnants of like they leave certain memories in your head, and she saw something that she wasn't supposed to see. She sees that the timekeepers don't exist, but I guess it kind of, to me, we see Lady Loki says, I don't care about the timekeepers, but yet she asks her for where the timekeepers can be found. So it kind of speaks to maybe what her mission may or may not be. But Brandon, man, your take on this sequence going into this this super mall and the reveal that the timekeepers' identity have been given away.
Yeah, just real quick, I liked when we was in there. We first got in there. Loki uses magic to dry himself
Great
off.
Point.
I thought that was pretty cool. Yeah. Also, Hunter C-15, just showing that she's the boss. I have no idea what C20 is talking about, saying it's real, it's real. That just boggles my mind. Like, what is real? Like, you know, y'all are supposed to know that. You're supposed to know this. You know, what did you give away? Like, I cannot wait to know what she's talking about. As far as the enchanting powers, like the body switching, that was confusing to me at first, but I got a good handle on it. But it was dope. It was nice. You know, I like the display of powers, even though I was confused. You know, it still kind of goes back to kind of what Loki was saying at the beginning of the episode, with projecting or body doubles or something like that. So I just hope we see more of it in the coming episodes.
Couldn't agree with you more. Yeah, I think we're gonna, when Loki finally has this kind of one-on-one conversation with Lady Loki, I think we'll definitely get some more. And if we meet other Lokis, we'll see more of what Lokis are capable of. But as we kind of wrap up the episode, I love again the coloring of this last half, the blue neon, the red, obviously indicating, you know, some bad things are here to come. Randy switching into the body again. Loki tries to offer, you know, our Loki's like again scheming, let's work together, but you'll be below me as I kind of overtake the TVA and you know, take over the timekeepers. And Lady Loki says to him, that's not my mission, and I'm not here for you either. And another thing to kind of point out, as Loki says in this scene, wow, if I was a Loki, I wouldn't treat a Loki like this, which we'll talk about again, a theory out there that this isn't actually Lady Loki, that it might be someone else, but I wouldn't treat myself like this. And she does not like to be called Loki when he says that, just call me Randy. But we see the biggest implications to Phase 4 so far. And this is why this show is very, very important to the MCU. We see that the whole plan, at least so far, is she gathered all the time resets, she placed them in this mall, and she dropped them to various different multiverses, which again can speak to the multiverse of madness, can speak to Doctor Strange 2, Spider-Man. I didn't even think about what if. I was thinking this whole time that the whole What If animated series is going to be like a little fun animated show, but this might speak to why, you know, T'Challa is Star-Lord. This might speak to Peggy Carter being Captain America because of this particular incident that Lady Loki set up. So I think this moment is so huge for the MCU. She waves goodbye, even though she should have probably did this, because I think she was antagonizing Loki to, you know, come with me if you want to live or learn more, as we know Loki ultimately does. Starting with you, Brandon, just your whole take, man, on this final scene of the implications of those bombs, what Lady Loki could be up to, and what this could mean for the MCU, man, and the rest of the show.
Well, I don't think it's Lady Loki. I think it's Enchantress. She has the same powers as Enchantress. I've been clamoring for Enchantress since we got Thor 1. Like, where's Enchantress at? And I think this is her right here. It just shines more light on why she doesn't want to be called Loki. After this episode, since the way this episode ended, we're going to have to know more about what the TVA is and like all the lies and deceit, you know, that they have up their sleeve, and their propaganda, a video from episode 1 of how it's not entirely true, all that. Her plan with the teleportation devices and the time bombs is dope as hell. I don't think she's trying to destroy reality. I didn't really think of this at first, but I think she's just trying to empty the TVA headquarters as much as possible, so that she can sneak back in there and, I don't know, read some files, turn some knobs or something like that. I'm not sure. But I know this. I cannot wait till episode 3 drops so we can see, because this is exciting. And like I said, I can't wait.
It's a great point you bring up there too, because as the scene kind of wraps up the episode, we do see Renslayer gets her little prone device. She's ready to fight, because a lot of TVA, as Brandon alluded to, we see the timelines. They say that, you know, this is obviously going back to what Miss Minutes said at the beginning of the episode. What happens when you can't control the branch of the reality? Well, it's chaos. So as Brandon just said, this is I think someone might have mentioned it on a stream recently. It's kind of that Dark Knight moment when the Joker gets all the police force, or even, you know, Dark Knight Rises, Bane gets all of the police underground to take out, you know, all that stuff. So it's very smart on Lady Loki to clear out the house. So very, very smart of if this is Loki or someone else. But Amanda, your thoughts on this finale and what this could potentially mean for the MCU?
Oh, it's chaos. Like, it's literally chaos. Like, when everything was like branching out, I'm like, oh, we're screwed, aren't we? We're gonna like, this is gonna be madness all over the place, especially for Doctor Strange. But yeah, I love the scenes. My only peeve with it, I wish we could kind of have seen maybe more of his powers, because he was using a vacuum to fight, and I was like, okay, sure, you're gonna choose to do that. So I just like just a little bit more, because like it's Loki. Like I want to see his powers, but I guess it's gonna be like a slow build. I do think she's Lady Loki. I don't know, the what's it called? The little piece,
The
is the
horn,
headpiece kind of. Yeah, like why would she wear that if she's not? I don't know, but like I like the Enchantress angle as well. We never know; it could. We have no idea, but I do think she is Lady Loki. I love the scene, and I love that there's like a power struggle, like like in that dynamic with the two of them. And I love that she's just like, well, I'm clearly better than you in every way like that. So I love that, and I'm really excited for episode 3. I'm happy that they ended it the way they did in this episode.
Yeah, I agree with you, man. And Chris, just your take on this final sequence before we we'll talk about Enchantress here in a bit, and also the multiverse, but just your take on this kind of ending, this jaw-dropping moment.
Yeah, another cliffhanger. I thought it was a great ending, and I can't imagine what 3 is going to bring us, because after 3 we're at our halfway part. So I think we're gonna get a lot of answers in that episode. It might be the most revealing episode. So definitely looking forward to that. I thought it was a good scene. I'm interested. We all think that it's Lady Loki, which means Marvel is maybe not. It's not Lady Loki, so it's like we can't trust him anymore. But yeah, I'm interested to see where we go with it.
Great. And to that point, you mentioned trust, because the characters that have told us that we should believe this is Loki has been the TVA, and we've been saying this whole time we can't trust the TVA, and not that they would make up who this is, but they might not know who it is, right? So let's just get to that topic, which I like. Amanda, I know you mentioned earlier, I like Thor, but I never really grew up reading the comics and all that stuff. It just didn't really interest me. For the longest time, Thor was just a character from Babysitter's Vacation, or the Avengers of a Babysitter, with Vincent D'Onofrio playing Thor. But obviously, after time went on, Thor, MCU, and obviously seeing him in the comic book run. But I never sat down and read all of the lore of these characters. So, Brandon, I know you brought up Enchantress, and I looked up some things, but just your thoughts on, I know you alluded to it earlier that she doesn't like to go by that name. She has these similar power sets, but are you feeling confident that this is indeed Enchantress?
Good 95%.
Yeah.
Yeah, good 95%. Can't nail it in the coffin all the way, but I'm pretty sure it's just too many similarities, in their power set.
Yeah.
In the look and all of that. So I'm pretty sure it is.
Interesting.
I'm happy about it too.
Yeah, no, and again, I did a little bit of research before we went live. Just a quick little synopsis on Enchantress. Essentially, I guess in one of the Ragnarok runs, when the destruction of Asgard happens, a lot of our characters, Loki included, their essence, their soul goes into a character or a human being on Earth, and apparently Loki's soul, it was kind of his plan for chaos on Earth, transmitted to this character or this lady by the name of Sylvia, which and this ties into a bigger theory. Someone mentioned in the comments earlier that in the end credits on some international end credits, it shows that Lady Loki's name in the show is Sylvia, which plays into Enchantress. And I guess the mythology of the character, because there's 2 different enchantresses in the Thor mythology. There's one that's like an actual villain to Thor, and then there's one that's like think that they're Loki and think that they're from Asgard because they have the soul of Loki inside of them. So that could be a little bit of what we're looking at here. I don't know if it's a little bit too much to introduce to the audience. Wait, I thought this was Lady Loki. No, we're Enchantress. I don't know if it's too confusing to explain to an audience. So that's why, like Amanda said, it might just flat out be Lady Loki, because it might be a little bit too much to dupe the audience. But again, we have Thanos, we have multiverse. I think at this point, the audience can accept certain things than they might not have been able to do in 10 years from now. But yeah, I think, Brandon, I think you're right with this Enchantress thing, man. The power set, obviously the lore is kind of switched up in the MCU in regards to how Loki's essence happened. Maybe on her world that Ragnarok happened, and that's how she was able to think that she's Loki. But we'll see, man. But I do want to finish up on one last point. We talked on it a little bit, but the birth of a new multiverse. Amanda, do you think this is the catalyst to what we have in front of us, which is what if Spider-Man No Way Home and Doctor Strange Into the Multiverse of Madness? Is this what kicks off those 3 cosmic nexus events?
I think so. They wouldn't be going this in depth into like explaining everything if it wouldn't. And it's also the placement of the show. So like it's coming before all three of them that we just said. So I'm pretty sure like this is gonna jumpstart everything. So definitely with the way that they're over explaining everything, like 100%.
Yeah, that's a great point. Chris, man, your take on, is this the start of the multiverse of madness?
Yeah, I agree with Amanda. I hope that it is, because then it gives, the shows really that much more oomph behind them. And I know we're kind of dancing around that whole idea of like, is the show going to be making these epic moves or not, because it is just a show. And if it is, more power to Disney Plus for doing that. But I think we had that kind of discussion going back to WandaVision, where like, we're going to see this person, we're going to see that person. And like, it's just a show. And then we're like, we're going to see Captain America. It's just a show. So it's like, I hope that it is to give us a little bit more for these shows. But I hope that it is.
Before we go to you, Brandon, you bring up a great point, because that was a conversation that we had with WandaVision. Ultimately, it does play into the greater MCU. Scarlet Witch is obviously a Nexus being. She's going to be a very pivotal character moving forward. But isolating that incident, it was just it was Westview, right? It wasn't, we're not talking multiverse and all that. And no disrespect to the new Captain America, but this was a very grounded into reality, right? This doesn't really impact the multiverse and, X-Men and Eternals. It's a very, we see Sam get the shield. I think, to Chris's point, this is the show that is like, this is must-watch TV in regards to if you want to know what's going on in these three next projects, this is like critical to watching, which I know for some people is like, I hate that idea that you don't have to do it, but the idea that I have to watch a show to know what's going on in the movies. I don't know how you guys feel about that. To me, I'm an MCU fan, and as we know, we watch this show every week to talk about it, but to the average audience member, is it too much pressure for someone to watch that? No,
not. If you're willing to watch Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness, which is not Iron Man, it's not Captain America, it's not Black Panther, you're willing to do the homework. Like you should know what you're getting. This is not most popular of the Avengers. We're getting into like the weeds now. So like, if you're not willing to spend the $3 that Disney Plus wants per month, then you might not be willing to tall enough to ride the ride.
I agree.
I do hope that like the film itself, it's not like an obligation to watch the show. Like I hope they frame it and structure it a different way, where if it is a general audience member who doesn't have Disney Plus, which I don't know who doesn't have it at this point, but like they can go into it and still enjoy the film without having to watch everything. But like if you're a diehard fan, then obviously do the homework like Loki does. So there
you go. Brandon, man, your whole thoughts on this multiverse being opened up and setting the stage for these three shows and movies at the bottom here. And I guess just to pose that question to you too, man. Again, obviously we're deep into it, like Chris mentioned. We love these shows. We're going to watch it. We're going to be there. But do you, as a content creator, do you feel like it's a little bit too much pressure on the audience to watch these shows, to know what's going on in the films?
I don't think it's enough pressure at all. That would be crazy, especially when you have the convenience of watching it at home. Right. I mean, if you had to get up and go to the theater to watch all this, then that may be a challenge. But you can watch it at the crib, and it's not like this is 7 seasons. I mean, it's just a few episodes.
6 episodes. Yeah.
So, and they flow quite well. As far as the main question, like, is this the birth of the multiverse? Yes, indeed. However, if I'm just completely excited about that, I'm kind of on the fence. Like, I'm happy, but I'm not. I like the way they're handling it, and it makes sense. It seems kind of natural, but at the same time, as a fan, and this may be an unpopular opinion, I kind of feel like all this multiverse stuff is happening too early in the MCU. This even may be a more unpopular opinion. I think that we saw Thanos too early in the MCU. Now, I understand that Marvel doesn't have all the rights to all their characters. They do now for the most part. Right. But I mean, I personally wanted to see like the Daredevil in the MCU and Inhumans in the MCU and Ghost Rider and Blade and all these other characters Fantastic Four that we haven't seen yet in the MCU before we get into all this multiverse stuff. However, the reason why I say I'm on the fence is because it's quite necessary now, because we're going to need this to explain kind of like where the X-Men fit in, because I mean, we got these Avengers films that are making $2-3 billion worldwide. X-Men is going to be even bigger than that. Worldwide, X-Men is
we
much
just
more
scratching the
popular.
surface. Yeah, man.
Yeah, X-Men is much more popular than the Avengers. You know what I'm saying? And so, I mean, as y'all know, like Fantastic Four that's coming, but where they've been this whole time, you can just easily create an origin story. But X-Men, the lore is so large, it's like, where have they been this entire time?
Yeah.
Where were they in Age of Ultron, 2012 Avengers, etc.? And so we're going to need this multiverse stuff to kind of explain that, you know, if they want to make fans happy. So I'm happy, but I'm also just like, don't mess it up. You know, don't blow your load too early.
Yeah.
So I'm just,
it's true.
I'm on the fence. You know.
Also, quick question for the panel: like, what percentage of fans do you think are like us? And like, we're content creators, but a world before we were content creators, I would imagine we all watched all the Marvel stuff. Don't you think it's a very high percentage of a Marvel viewer that watches all of it, and a much smaller percentage of someone that's okay, I'll check out Avengers. Okay, I'll check out Black Panther.
Yeah.
It's a good question.
What number would you put that at?
As far as worldwide fans that are like us,
I would say worldwide. I mean, maybe domestic for sure, or worldwide if we have to. But fans that are going to watch whatever it is that are, even if you don't read the comics, just like, I'm going to, if it's Marvel, I'm going to watch it.
I say 50%.
I think it's higher.
Really?
You think?
Yeah. Like if I go see Doctor Strange, you know, even Doctor Strange 1, if I poll the theater, I would imagine 85% of those people have watched almost everything to the MCU.
So
okay, I see what you're saying. Okay.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. I used to work at a theater, so it's like I say that 85% go the Thursday night pre-screening, and then Friday, Saturday, Sunday, it's like, oh, there's a new Marvel movie. I haven't watched like this, and this, but like I'm gonna spend the $21 to go watch it because everyone else says that they're good, type of thing. So like I feel like the 85% of fans, it's pre-screening on the Thursday, and then because of word of mouth, they'll come in afterwards. So like I do think it's lower just because
fair.
Yeah, I think that's just what I got from working there. It was funny. They didn't follow anything beforehand, but they're gonna walk into like Avengers Endgame, and I'm like, what are you doing?
Yeah, which then I'll give you that.
Yeah.
Avengers Endgame, everyone's watching this. I need to see this.
Yeah.
Spider-Man the same way. I know Spider-Man. He's cute.
Yeah.
But like for someone that's gonna know anything about the multiverse, like they're gonna watch the shows. I would think.
Yeah.
That's a great point, man. I think I'm kind of deciding with Amanda with this one regarding just the fandom, because again, I don't think you make, you know, the Avengers Endgame doesn't make 3 point whatever billion without, number one, hardcore fans repeat your viewings, but also the average moviegoer that just goes to a movie once a year. They FOMO. They just want this is an event. This is an event
what's happening here? Like what's happening? Like
exactly.
I was talking to one of my coworkers earlier doing the day job, and he's a MCU fan. Well, he's not like us, but he's a fan. His wife has never seen any MCU anything, and Endgame was the first film that she saw in theaters. Didn't see Infinity War. I'm like, what? You know, she didn't know what was going on, but she had fun. So I was just like, wow.
Yeah,
that is why I think because of me, like I can't. I just don't know if I can ever see like a sequel before seeing like the original film. Like in my head, like I didn't see. This is completely off topic, but what was the Hitman's wife?
And I was just gonna make that point because I watched the screening for the sequel, but I didn't even know there was a part 1. So like,
oh wow!
And then I think I watched Jeremy was like, nah, you don't even need to, because I forgot that it even existed. So I was like, I bet. Which you don't like, but like usually I'm like you, E. Like I don't watch the sequel without watching.
It's like a mental thing. I can't watch a sequel if I haven't seen the original. It's just like a thing for me. It's like the OCD in me. But yeah, I don't know how she saw Endgame without. But I guess I could be sitting next to someone seeing Doctor Strange, Spider-Man, be like, oh, did you see Loki earlier this year?
Yeah.
No, Loki. What is Loki?
What? Yeah.
So I mean, hey, you'll come across those people. You come across, because it's so interesting too. I wonder, will the TVA be in anything before Doctor Strange? Will they be in anything else before Spider-Man? Will a TVA agent be in there to kind of explain? I don't know. I'm just so fascinated with Phase 4 because, again, I think it's so interesting. By the way, I can't remember where I saw this at yesterday. This is a fun little Easter egg. Do you guys know yesterday was 6/16, June 16th, 2021, but more importantly, it was 6/16, this episode dropped, and obviously 616 is big into Marvel. It's the original timeline of Marvel. So I don't know if that was an accidental thing, if that was Kevin Feige, why these shows had to be on Wednesday and why it landed on 616.
My mind is blown.
Yes.
I'm not taking credit for it. I think I can't remember. I saw it on Twitter yesterday. I'm like, that is awesome. That little Easter egg there. But I think, again, the importance of that Easter egg is, and again, it speaks to Loki, how important he was to phase one. He was the catalyst to create the Avengers. It only makes sense that Loki is introducing something as big as the multiverse, which we'll see how it all plays out. Like Brandon said, I hope they stick the landing. But before we wrap up things, starting with you, Chris, man, just overall general take on this episode. What's your predictions for the weeks ahead and all that fun stuff, man?
General thoughts, I always go back to when we started WandaVision. I said I was most looking forward to Loki. When I saw a couple episodes of WandaVision, at least the Falcon, but after WandaVision, I said, damn, like after this, like we will say that WandaVision is the best because it was so deep. We were going so crazy with the Easter eggs and all that. But now I think I might have to take that back because Loki still was my favorite, looking forward to it, but it might end up being the best one. I think I stand by that. As far as next week, I don't know about the weeks, but like next week, I'm really looking forward to Lady Loki, Enchantress, just schooling our Loki on like what's going on, and just like that banter back and forth is going to be huge. Wunmi, dissing Mobius for letting him go again. Like I'm just looking for that kind of banter of like, you idiot, why you let him go? Like, and then just Loki like figuring this out and figuring how to like put it in, like how to twist it so he can win. But I'm looking forward to it for sure.
Great points. But yeah, I think we're going to get a little bit of a lesson because if we were to follow the rules of screenplay, if this was a movie, we just ended the first half and now it's time for the second half. And I think this is where Loki's going to really open the doors into really what's going on behind the scenes. But Brandon, man, just your general overall take on this second episode. And then if you have any bold predictions of maybe Kang the Conqueror making an appearance in next week's episode.
Love the episode. And I can't talk. What I think is coming is the truth is going to come out next episode. We're going to find out so much stuff. It was such a giant exposition dump in episode 1. I think we're going to get even a bigger dump in episode 3. And I can't wait. I don't know if I want to see Kang pop up. I don't think he will. I think that's kind of rushing it a bit. I'm ready for him to just pop up in was it Ant-Man, the Quantum Realm or whatever it's called? Quantum Mania. Kind of like how Thanos popped up in the first Guardians. I kind of thought that was shoehorned in. I don't want to. I don't want to see Kang pop up in this. He's too big of a badass to pop up here. But a little foreshadowing here, like a little Easter egg or something, would be fine. But I don't want to pop up. So gotcha. Amanda,
overall take on this second episode titled The Variant, and if you have any bold predictions for what we can expect next week.
Oh man, well I agree with both of them. This episode just it opened up a can of worms, and like episode 3 is just going to exceed our expectations. And the banter between Loki and Lady Loki, Enchantress, whatever you want to call her, is going to be awesome. I don't know what to expect anymore. I don't know. After WandaVision, I'm like, I don't even expect it. Yeah. I'm like, I don't even care anymore. If Kang shows up, amazing. If he doesn't, that's fine. Like all the theorizing, just my head. But like Brandon said, I kind of don't want Kang to be in this, but if there's like a name drop, I wouldn't mind that. Like that's good enough. But like don't have him in this, because I think to actually see Jonathan Majors in like Ant-Man and the Wasp, like Quantum Mania, I think is going to be an awesome reveal. So yeah, I'm excited for episode 3. I hope it's a bit longer maybe than because we don't know how long it's going to be. Like they've all been hour episodes, but if it's a bit longer, I think it'd be really cool. But yeah, I'm excited.
Can I say something else real quick? Like when we see Kang, he needs to make an entrance like no one else, like bigger than Thanos. Like when Thanos walked through that portal for the first trailer for Avengers 1, it needs to top that in my opinion.
It's one of the best trailers ever.
Like, who is this guy? Like he needs to come through like a boss. And so
interesting.
Interesting. Definitely.
Because my thing too with Jonathan Majors, and this goes back to the Google conversation we had earlier in regards to you cast Jonathan Majors to play the unexpected to play the villain per se, if they even go that route initially when we first meet Nathaniel Richards. So I don't know, man. It'll be interesting to see if we, as an audience, if we sympathize with him first before he makes that full change. I'm just, like you said, Brian, I can't wait to see how they handle Kang. Is it going to be a mic drop moment? Is it going to be a vulnerable moment? Is it going to be a heartfelt moment? Only time will tell. And we talked about this not just being a TV show. That would set the game on his head if they introduce, I don't know if you guys feel like it would be cheap into the character, but if they do introduce Kang on Disney Plus, that's a mic drop moment. Like, you must watch the show to get something like that. I don't know if it diminishes the character, if it makes it a little bit underwhelming, but I think that would be a game changer.
It shouldn't diminish the character, but in our minds, I think it will in a small way. That's why I prefer like that calling card, like the Joker type of thing. Like, just give me a little, give me a little sample.
Yeah,
it's true. Because the way my mind's working is, Wanda, we saw her in WandaVision, but she became the Scarlet Witch on that show. If no one watched that show, that's a pretty big moment for that character to become the Scarlet Witch on television. Sam becoming Captain America is a pretty big deal in the greater MCU. So hell, Kang the Conqueror coming up on TV. I don't know. I don't know. We'll see. Man. But this is what the MCU does to us. They can drop things on television, they can drop things on theaters, or they can make us pay $30 to see a movie on Disney Plus with Black Widow. They got us hooked, guys. They have us wrapped into their fingers. Yeah. But hey, before we head out, like I said, I don't want to forget this. We mentioned up top that we do have an awesome giveaway that we will be giving to an awesome winner. So no pressure on me, because I'm going to leave it to my panelists. Amanda, Chris, Brandon, guys, if there was someone in the chat that you thought, and by the way, everyone in the chat was awesome. Everyone from the comments, the likes, the shares, the super chats, everyone is completely aces in my book. But is there anyone that you guys are like, you know what, this person brought it tonight? They had some great comments, whatever the case may be. Is there anyone in the chat that you guys think should win this hat?
Oh, man.
I'm gonna give it to my girl Mara.
Mara?
Either Mara or Pound the Pavement.
Was that the CW comment? I think that was the CW comment. That the costume, that was it. Yeah, that had me laughing. So
that was a pretty good comment. Yeah. Mara, are you still with us? Are you still with us?
Mara's still kicking. She's still here. She's still doing her thing.
Well, hey. The panel has spoken. Marla, if you're here, let me know if you're here, and I'll hit you up on IG or on Twitter, and we can get this set up for you. Marla, let me know if you're still in the chat, and we can give you this awesome hat that our friend from Canada, this incredible artist, Stefano, has made, which is just so fire. Amanda, don't you have one of these hats?
Yeah, I have the Captain America one.
Captain America, yeah.
She said give it to Pound the Pavement.
Pound the Pavement? Okay.
Oh no, it doesn't matter to me. I'm good. Hey. Mara's great too.
Hey, if you're still here, Mara, Pound the Pavement. Claim your prize.
My vote. I thought CG left. So if Pound the Pavement's not there, I voted for CG. I thought he was gone, but he was the first person that said he wanted the hat when he posted it.
CG. Okay.
Yeah.
Also. Yeah.
Pound the Pavement.
We're
Hey, CG, Pound and Pavement is between you two. You guys are awesome. Hey, if you CG, if you want the hat, Pound and Pavement, if you want the hat, I wish we had more hats to give away. We might do another giveaway next week. I might pull up with something. I might give away a low-key staff or something. I'll just make up out of imagination. But either one of you guys, just let me know. Hit me up on Instagram, and we'll make sure you get that hat. But guys, we're approaching that 2-hour mark, and this is. And by the way, Pound and Pavement, thank you so much for super chat. I don't want to neglect that. How's Loki slated for season 2? Where are they going? Yeah, we'll see, man.
That's too early. Yeah,
that's too early. Let's finish this show in this season and talk about it later. But it's looking good. But guys, this has been an awesome discussion. Tonight that we had. And CG, hit me up, CG, on Instagram, man. My link is in the bio, and I'll make sure to send you over to Stefano if you can get that cool hat, man. But guys, Amanda, Chris, the incredible special guest Brandon, this was so much fun, so much great discussions, theories, predictions, all that fun stuff. And we'll be back next week talking more Loki. But starting with you, Amanda, if you want to let the people know where you're at, what's next on your incredible channel.
Yeah, well, this was awesome. Great discussion. Love breaking it down with you guys every single week. You guys can always find me over at AMX NDA Reviews on Twitter, Instagram, and Letterboxd. You can check out my YouTube channel, Candid Cinema. I'm probably going to have my Loki review up very soon. Life's been crazy. And I watched Fatherhood too, and I have some thoughts about that one. So yeah, you can check out my website, candidxcinema.com, and I'll see you guys next week.
Definitely check her out, guys. Can't wait to see your review on Fatherhood, Amanda, because yeah, that was and then our second co-host, my man from the East Coast, Chris, man. Where can the people find you, and what's coming up next on Tate's Take?
Yeah, you already know what it is. Everything's at Tate's Take. All my information is in my descriptions. I got the Instagram, Twitter, and all that kind of stuff. So I also did watch Fatherhood. It ain't for everybody, but it's a nice little movie. If you got like a little family movie night, you better stop hating on that thing. Because I don't even like Kevin Hart. You got me capping for this dude, or caping for this dude. But yeah, it's fine. What's next for me? Amanda, we're gonna have to talk about that offline. But I still got a lot of those Tribeca Film Festival movies. Like they posting out some good movies. I can't keep up, but there's a lot of good movies coming from that side. I watched one last night called The God Committee with Kelsey Grammer, Julia Stiles. Really good stuff. So just keep your eye on my channel, and I'll be dropping some stuff pretty soon.
Awesome, man. Yeah, I can't wait to see you're going to be covering a lot of those films that you did on Tribeca. Any reviews we can expect?
I'm trying. I might just hold them, like maybe hold them in my pocket till like they looks like the release dates and stuff like that, or do like a little like like some typed up. But yeah, it's a lot of good stuff. It's a lot of good stuff. And I just got on Letterboxd too. That is like adding all my movies. Oh my gosh,
it's addictive, right?
Yeah. So I'm trying to do like year by year, but yeah.
Nice, cool. Man. Well, again, Amanda's and Chris links are in the bio, guys. Go ahead and subscribe, follow them on the social media accounts. They are incredible. So, Brandon, man, again, this is another appearance on the live stream, man. Been so fortunate to have you back on. Of course, we're going to have you back on in the future, man. And, obviously do some more collabs, but I appreciate you coming on tonight, my friend. If you can let the people know what's next on Just My Opinion and where they can find you.
Yeah, man, you can find me here on YouTube at Just My Opinion Reviews, or head over to the website, justmyopinion.net. Follow me at Just My Opinion 84 on social media. What I have, I'm right after this, I'm going to be actually watching Fatherhood for the first time. Just didn't have time this week and try to get a review up for you guys because it's released tomorrow. And hopefully I can see Black Widow pretty soon too, like everybody else. And yeah, I'll be doing a recap for episode 3 of Loki next week. And so if you want, just subscribe so you can check that out.
No doubt, man. And again, guys, Amanda's, Chris, and Brandon's links are in the bio. Again, CG, hit me up on IG, man. Or if you don't have IG, hit me up on Twitter. All that stuff is in the bio or in the link in the description, so we can get you the contact information about that awesome hat that you won, man. And congratulations to you. And congratulations to everyone for being awesome and tuning in tonight and liking and sharing and commenting. If you're watching us on the replay, if you can do the same, that'll be greatly appreciated. And we'll be back next Thursday with another special guest, and Amanda, Chris will be back, and hopefully we got another fun episode of Loki to talk about with episode 3 titled Kane the Conqueror. But guys, it has been a blast. You guys are awesome. Hope you having a great rest of your Thursday. We got some great stuff to look forward to in the weekend, like Luca and all that fun stuff. So definitely have a safe weekend, guys. And happy Father's Day to all the wonderful fathers out there that's celebrating Father's Day on Sunday. So guys, this has been Loki, and you guys have been awesome, and we'll see you on the next video.